because of the state of the world right now and young people, as we were discussing earlier too, that maybe more people might be inclined to get married because the next generation is more conservative. And that's a conservative traditional ideal, to have a family, to buy a house.
Wouldn't that be nice? Full circle. We're coming back.
Coming full circle to our original story about Gen Z being more conservative, especially the men. So this could catch on in more ways than one. And with the economy, too, being what it is, they could buy a house.
Absolutely. Good idea.
Well, coming up, we recap the top stories of the day.
And we have a very special programming note you're not going to want to miss. Stay tuned.
Nothing is off limits to David Harris Jr. And there's no apologies, because he's armed with common sense, real faith, and the truth. Don't miss him on The Pulse tonight.
Let me ask all of you watching at home a question. How many of you honestly get enough physical activity on a daily basis? How many of you spend way too many hours a day sitting inactively? My guess is many of you do. Whether it's because you feel discomfort while walking, maybe you lack mobility because of poor balance, stiff joints, and weak legs, or perhaps we've fallen into the bad habit of leading a sedentary lifestyle, or because of your job. You probably sit inactively way too many hours a day. Let's face it, we all do. Introducing Ellipse, the automatic seated exerciser that strengthens your legs, increases your mobility, and boosts your circulation without physical strain or impact.
Call now and get upgraded to the Ellipse Deluxe Bundle. Get the faster motor that produces more than 8 kilometers worth of steps per hour, the step counter to keep track of what you've accomplished, the non-slip sport mat, and the wireless remote. Hurry and call now.
Hi folks, we're back. If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you what your case is potentially worth. Pick up the phone, call now.
Hi, my name is Damian Clark. If you have both Medicare and Medicaid, I have some really encouraging news that you'll definitely want to hear. Depending on the plans available in your area, you may be eligible to get extra benefits with the Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. Most plans include the Humana Healthy Options Allowance, a monthly allowance to help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items. The Healthy Options Allowance is loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend carries over from each month. Plus, your doctor, hospital, and pharmacy may already be part of our large Humana networks. So call the number on your screen now and ask about a Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Welcome back to First Edition. We have a special programming note. At 1 p.m. today, right here on Newsmax, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will be live with an address from Jerusalem at Newsmax's special event. Tune in. You don't want to miss this one.
Yeah, very exciting. And catch Newsmax's Carl Higbee, who's been in Israel doing some fantastic reporting at 5 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday. It was excellent. Don't want to miss it today.
A lot of must-see television, yes.
Yeah, lots going on. It's great that Newsmax is actually in Jerusalem. It's really new, novel. We like it.
Oh, for sure.
That's what we do at Newsmax. But that'll do it for this Wednesday morning.
We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. The Chris Salcedo Show is next.
You're watching theDove TV, encouraging and informative for Santa Rosa and the wine country. Seen on KUKR 27 and these Dove TV affiliates.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove, where just about anything is said.
Yeah.
And Jerry interprets it.
Yeah. Well, you need an interpreter. It's called for.
Yes, and that's very biblical.
Yes, it is.
You say something strange, and then you have to have somebody.
And you know, inevitably, it's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, We'll see how it works.
Okay.
Stick around, and the outcome is anybody's guess. Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. Here we are halfway through the week. Guess what? The temperatures are going to back down a few degrees.
Just starting to inch back down.
Yeah.
This is the day.
This is the day, and then tomorrow we start to see a nice trend down back into the 80s, which is still very seasonable, but nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning. A lot in the news. Wow. When isn't there anything in the news? And we'll try our best to highlight some of the big stories for you today. And the only thing I say, it's high and dry. The fire ratings are extreme.
Yeah.
Up and down the entire
In
Pacific
spite of the
Northwest.
fact that we have nothing pressing around us as far as fires coming down our throat, the smoke that we're dealing with, we haven't had any of that. So, but it is critical, especially today.
It is. It's very, very critical. It's extreme. And fortunately, we get a little bit of wind in the afternoon that kind of pushes out the dirty air a little bit. But the good news is we haven't had any thunderstorms on this go-around. And that's been good to us. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. Anything special today?
Yeah, well, especially if you're driving right now and you're sitting at a light, you don't have to pay attention. Look up right over Mount McLaughlin. You're going to see Jupiter and Venus again. It is just brilliant out there. So,
yesterday they were side by side. Today there's one on top.
under the
How'd that happen?
They're traveling. They're not stationary. God put them in motion.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Well, I noticed yesterday they were side by side, and it looked like one bright eye and one weak eye looking at you.
How many stars did you see?
Now they're one on top of the other.
That's right.
And I drive in and I go, well, there they are.
Yep. And the bright one is Venus. So there you go.
That's the one on the bottom this morning. Yeah.
Anyway, so enjoy that. We only have two things, and luckily they're both edible. The first one, who can turn this down? It is National Filet Mignon Day. Oh, yeah, celebrating a specialty cut of beef, usually from a steer or a heifer. A filet mignon is a steak taken from the smaller end of the tenderloin of the beef carcass. Filet mignon in French, it means cute filet.
Cute.
Yeah, it translates to beef filet in English, a filet de boeuf, which is another name in French. When found on a French menu, though, filet mignon may also refer to pork. Since the filet mignon comes from the most tender portion of the tenderloin, it's one of the most prized cuts of beef. Therefore, expect to pay the most amount of money for this one. It is the most expensive.
All right, so how do you like your meat?
Well, here you go. I like mine, medium to medium rare, somewhere in there. Medium's
So about
not bad.
140.
Yeah, but this one, 140 is good. You're right. You stick that, and you know what?
Yeah.
Live by that thermometer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
140.
But because filet mignon is kind of lean, a lot of people wrap it in bacon.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, that's how I like it.
Okay, the only problem with that, when you barbecue it, bacon flares up.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful.
Right. That's true. You know what? It takes a little bit of care, doesn't it? Yeah.
So if you pull the meat at 140, it's going to go to 150.
Yeah. Yes. You got to let it rest.
Yeah. So you may want to pull it at 135.
Okay. Let me ask you this: when you pull your steak, that's true though. When you pull your steak out and you let it rest, do you cover it in foil or do you just let it sit? How do you?
That's a good thing. I tell you what I've learned to do.
What?
Okay. I like mine about like you do. A little on the medium to medium rare side.
Yeah.
Now Peggy likes hers well done.
So does Pam. Yep.
Okay. So I'll leave Peggy's on till about 150.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'll take mine at 130, 135 and put it on the top rack.
Okay. All right.
And it finishes up to about 135, 140.
Okay.
And then I put hers up there. Then I turn the burners off and let them sit on the top rack until you're ready to put them on the plate.
Okay.
So they still have the barbecue smell.
Yes.
The barbecue flavor.
You know what? It could be what's for breakfast.
What's for breakfast?
Okay. We have only one other thing. Take a look at this because we're all familiar with this image or set of imagery from Subway sandwiches. Do you talk about false advertising? Did you know that the beloved Subway sandwiches actually faced a 2013 lawsuit for their foot-long sandwiches because they're not a foot long?
Oh, that's right.
They're not a foot long, so they got sued in 2013. The food chain explained that Subway footlong is merely a brand name and not meant to be the actual measure of the sandwich.
They lost.
No, they threw the case out.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. They proved that it was a brand name, not a description.
Well, there's an attorney that.
Oh, yeah, somebody earned his money there, huh?
Oh boy, did they
huh?
ever, yeah.
So they must have a trademark on the footlong.
Okay, so
how do you do that?
There's other sub places.
It looks delicious, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, food art is amazing.
Yes. Well, and especially how they do this.
Yeah.
Oh, they have food stylists. That's all they do.
Yeah, food stylists.
Right.
Yeah.
And in fact, Campbell's Soup got in trouble once because on their vegetable beef soup once they took a picture of it and all this stuff was floating on the top. You know, you could see the chunks. They had clear marbles underneath it to push all the stuff up underneath it.
Well, that's, again, food art. Food
art, yeah.
You know, I visited quite often the Harry and David photo lab here, and how they take pictures of their items to go in the catalog.
Right. Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing.
Yes, indeed. And you know, when we watch some of our favorite cooking shows, like Chopped and stuff, they get points for food presentation.
Oh yeah, presentation.
How are you on presentation?
You know, I'm getting better.
All right.
You know, I've learned to wipe the edge of the plate.
Okay. There. Yeah, it works for me.
Okay. All right, good stuff all the way around. Well, let's. Here's a guy that presents everything just so well. It's just amazing. Even the weather.
Look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Today will mark the beginning of temperatures starting to move down. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with highs in the mid-80s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville, and near 90 in Wilsonville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with sunny skies and daytime high temperatures in the upper 80s for Salem, Albany, and Corvallis, and near 90 in Eugene, with a northwest wind 5 to 9 miles per hour this afternoon. Sunny and breezy with red flag warnings across central Oregon with highs in the low 90s for Prineville and Bend and near 87 in Sun River. Sunny, hot, and breezy this afternoon in Boise, Idaho with a high temperature near 99. More early patchy fog this morning along the coast, then clearing to sunny to mostly sunny with daytime highs in the low 70s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, near 59 in Brookings, and low 60s in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny and hot with a fire weather watch for the Rogue Valley and the Klamath Basin with daytime highs near 99 in Grants Pass, 100 in Medford, and low to mid-90s for Ashland and Klamath Falls. Into northern California, sunny and hot with a high near 97 in Wairika and near 98 in Redding. Sunny with highs in the mid-90s around Chico and near 90 in Sacramento with a light southwest wind. Cloudy skies across the Bay Area this morning, then gradual clearing with daytime high temperatures in the mid to upper 70s for Santa Rosa and Napa, near 68 in San Francisco with gusty winds, and near 83 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Wednesday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, good morning to you. A shot from the top of Mount Ashland this morning, and you can see a little bit of the heat haze out there, but beautiful weather. Beautiful weather. So
enjoy it and make plans, because we love to make plans, don't we? Yeah, in fact, whether it's relaxing or business, and we have a lot. You have a lot of plans you're dealing with right now.
Oh, gosh.
How's it all working?
You know, I probably should give a little bit of a tour update out there. We are starting to get back on track. We were way off track there on our project, only because it was all circumstantial, nothing other than delivery items, prices going up, canceling those, trying to find it cheaper, all that stuff. But anyway, we made a big step forward yesterday. We got, I would say, about 80% of the lighting grid hung from the ceiling yesterday.
It was amazing.
We had two people in here with these lifts, you know, these scissor lifts.
Oh, yeah.
And our engineers running around yelling at everybody, put a hard hat on. So, anyway, we're making progress.
Hey, when I get big, I want to drive one of those lifts.
Oh, they're a hoot.
I bet they are.
Everybody doesn't want me on one, but I'm going, hey.
No
the hard part is getting in it. Driving it and being on it's not an issue. You know?
Yes.
But I've been to the top of the ceiling in here on quite a few times in one of those lifts. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Okay.
But they don't like me up there.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Did you have your hard hat on?
Well, that's a good question. One quick story.
Okay.
We had a guy working on our tower years ago, and he was way up there, 410 feet in the air.
Wow.
And he's working up there. Here comes OSHA.
Oh.
First time I ever had OSHA show up on a job.
Really?
And the guy comes out, and he's looking around, and all the other people down on the ground had hard hats on, but the guy up there didn't have a hard hat on. And it was like a referee. He pulls a red hanky out of the back of his pocket.
Oh, no.
And throws it on the ground.
No,
says,
with a penalty flag.
No, he says, I'm shutting this job down.
Oh, no.
And I go, what for? That guy up there doesn't have a hard hat on.
Wow.
So we had walkie-talkies, and I called him, and I said, hey, Ray, his name was Ray. I said, Hosh is here, and they're shutting the job down. And we could hear from up there, go, wow, the words were kind of colorful.
Okay.
But we had a zip line from the top down.
Oh.
And he zipped.
No way.
He put his hook on there. He had a way of had a brake on it.
Uh-huh.
He comes zipping down that thing, and he stands over there, and he's really hot.
Oh,
and
wow.
he made sailors look like choir people. And so here comes the OSHA guy, and the OSHA guy, he said, well, you don't have a hard hat on. And he looked him right in the face. I mean, got right in. He goes, when's the last time something fell up? He's up there, and we're all down here.
Oh, that's great.
And got back on, and he had a winch, went back up there.
Oh, I love it.
And the guy went out there, pulled up his flag. And
oh, that is great.
Yeah.
All right.
I go, well, first and only time I had OSHA get on me about
Oh,
something.
that's funny.
So to your point, why should I wear a hat up there when... when's the last time something fell up?
That's perfect. Well, as you make plans, Pastor Greg Laurie has a suggestion that we should all keep in mind.
So I heard this story about a father and a son who went to the hardware store. The dad was finishing his purchase, and the owner of the hardware store pointed to a big jar of candy right there on the counter. And he said to the little boy, son, take some of this candy, grab a handful, it's free. Little guy just looked up at his father. And then the hardware store owner again said, son, I told you, the candy's free, grab a handful. Take as much as you want in your hand. Again, the little boy just looks up at his father. Finally, his dad grabs a handful of candy and gives it to his son. So they get in the car and they're driving home. The father asks the son, why didn't you grab the free candy? The boy with a big smile said, because, Dad, your hand is bigger than mine. Right? You know where I'm going with this? God's hand is bigger than ours. Oh, I don't want to say your will be done. Why? Well, it won't be what I want. It'll be harder. Wait, what if it's better than anything you ever even imagined? The Bible says he is able to do abundantly above and beyond that which you could ask or think. Listen, never be afraid to commit an unknown future to a known God. He loves you. His plan for you is good. So we need to include God in all of our plans.
Yeah. That, I was out looking at Venus and...
And Jupiter. Yeah.
And I'm looking up there, and I'm thinking this morning, you ever once in a while, you have to go outside and look up to get a perspective on how big God is.
Yeah.
And I thought, what is man that you're mindful of him? I mean, you're running everything.
Yeah.
And what is man that you're mindful? And then he's interested in our plans.
Right. Yes.
In fact, the scripture says, your life's plan was laid out in advance for you. Your job is to figure out what it is and get on that path.
Right. That is a perfect reminder, because how many times in life are you on your plan and all of a sudden something changes? You think, God, what's going on here? Well, he's got a different plan for you.
Sometimes he has to use a crowbar to get us to move.
Yeah.
All right, 14 minutes past the hour. Top stories, well, there's a bunch of them. The Texas House Democrats apparently are throwing up the white flag. They said they're coming back, but they didn't say when.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so they're going to close one session down and open up another one. And if they're not back by then, I guess legally proceedings can go forward where they're thrown out.
Oh, wow.
So they got their card pulled on them.
Okay.
And supposedly they're going to head back. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. The other story is, this is kind of interesting. Are you sitting down?
Mm-hmm.
Mondani is ahead in the polls.
Oh, and significantly.
He got 40. This is the Democrat nominee for mayor of New York. He's got 44%. Cuomo has 25%. Silva.
Oh, yeah. Curtis Sliwa.
Sila. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway, he is 12%. And then Eric Adams is only 7%.
No kidding.
Now, think about this. If you take 25% of Cuomo, 12% of the Republican, and 7% of Adams, it's 44.
Wow. Wow.
And Mondani has 44.
44. There you go.
Could
That's
you
it.
get
That's
the other
it.
3 consolidated?
Right. Oh, yeah. Can you herd cats?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But if Mondani is the future,
right,
that ought to scare you to death. And guess who's all for him?
Oh, who?
This person right here.
This is an opportunity for every Democrat, for every independent, and for every Republican who feels turned off by a Donald Trump who promised to lower costs and then delivered higher costs for working people to step up and be part of this race. When someone stands up and says, I will lead this city by making it more affordable, and here are my plans, real plans, plans to deliver on childcare, plans to deliver on housing, plans to deliver, we're going to experiment, we're going to try things on groceries. That is the Democratic message.
And who pays for it?
Yeah, good luck.
So the only thing, and I don't say this as being trite here, but if he actually becomes mayor, you'll see an evacuation.
I think so. And if they vote him in, they deserve him.
Well, there you go. All right, the other story is the whole thing going on in Washington, D.C. As you know, the president stepped up and decided to federalize the police department inside Washington, D.C., send the National Guard in. And as of last night, 39 arrests have been made already.
Yeah.
Some of them are murderers and gun-toting bad people.
Yeah.
And so there were 23 arrests, including these people. So in the meantime, the mayor decides to weigh in. And here's what the mayor has to say now that the president is taking control of the city.
The executive order is clear. The president has requested MPD services, and our home rule charter outlines the process. The president designated Attorney General Bondi as his proxy to request services through me.
Okay, so the problem is that they don't have any higher appeal now.
Right.
In the meantime, the police chief, kind of interesting person, Smith, the police chief, kind of got caught in a bad question.
She sure did.
And but anyway, here's her take on subordinating to somebody else.
All right.
I think this is going to be a good effort. It's going to be an effort that's supported by both teams, the Metropolitan Police Department as well as our federal partners. As you know, we work daily with them. What we've done at this point is we have provided the team, the administrator, with a strategic plan on how we will provide resources around our city.
All right. Basically, she's saying I'm buying words here because I really don't know what's going on, and the military is in control right now.
Yeah.
So the Army Reserve is in there. So the only thing I can say is this is really interesting. And in one night, 39 arrests.
She took a lot of heat on social media because she was asked about the chain of command. How does the chain of command work now? And she didn't understand it. She goes, chain of command.
Well, the Democrats are criticizing the feds taking over. And then, of course, Caroline Leavitt, she's the spokesperson for the president. Here's what she had to say about that comment.
65% of district residents think crime is an extremely serious or a very serious problem, and this was up from 56% last year. So the concern that you share with so many other residents in the District of Columbia is real, and that's why this president is taking action to address it. To get to the heart of your question, I think it's despicable that Democrats cannot agree that we need more law and order in a city that has been ravaged by violence, crime, murders, property theft. This should be a winning issue for all Americans.
And why isn't it?
Yeah.
And so it's because
it's Donald Trump.
There you go.
One other thing that has happened now, there is a presence that is showing up at some of the big landmark tourist attractions in Washington, D.C., and these guys in camouflage uniforms are on. It's the National Guard. Tourists are lining up and they're taking pictures with them.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing to think about. You know, National Guard, we think of, this police state. These are real people.
Yeah.
They're sitting there, they're smiling and taking pictures with tourists.
By the way, that's what the National Guard's there for.
Yeah.
So this is so interesting to me. Look, people that can't stand the air that Trump breathes, the only thing I can say is this is a winning issue. People want to feel safe.
Yeah.
And they want to feel secure. And if 65% of the residents inside the District of Columbia felt like they weren't secure, and here comes somebody in 24 hours has already made 49 arrests.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
You talk about closing the border and sweeping a town clean. Here you go.
Yeah.
One last story. Israel, as you know, is doing everything they can to figure out what they're going to do as far as taking control of Gaza. And the big stumbling block, if I can put it that way, are the 50 remaining hostages. Some are alive, some are not.
Right.
And so the question is, where are they and how can they go in there and get them? How can you take control of Gaza and still rescue the hostages? Now, I will say this. Israel's ability to rescue hostages hasn't been a high mark. They haven't been able to do this. And what Hamas has done is divide them up and put them all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what they're doing is they're taking this area called Gaza and they're slowly doing this to it, and they're just kind of squeezing it in. So the possibility of where these hostages are gets narrowed by the minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The question is, can they rescue them, or does Hamas kill them?
Right.
And that's the road they're on. And but apparently, they are committed to take Hamas back, take Gaza back and eliminate Hamas.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's easy for us to do armchair management here, but boy, they better get on it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Some of the stories for us on this Wednesday morning. We'll be right back.
Everybody needs to know that I will sing about your love. I will shout it to the sky. I will tell them what you've done. When the people ask me why I live my
Co-op, where big ideas grow.
It's your time to fly. Let's make it affordable. We are your airport. Fly MFR.
Go where the wild runs deep. At Hellgate Jet Boat Excursions, you feel the power of the mighty Rogue River as you take in the sights and sounds of nature, journey through Hellgate Canyon, and adventure through the breathtaking wilderness. Enjoy brunch or dinner on the open-air deck of the exclusive Hellgate River Lodge, and end your adventure with our exciting jet boat spins. It's a memory in the making with family and friends. Book your adventure at Hellgate.com. Hellgate Jet Boat Excursions, where adventure runs wild.
My wife is just out there snorkeling by herself. Never thought that she was in any kind of danger.
I felt like I had bumped into something. I was face to face with the shark. He had my whole arm in his mouth. I felt the strength of the Lord just come out from inside of me and give me the strength to fight. And I remember thinking, no, I'm not gonna die here. You are not gonna take my life.
Watch the 700 Club Wednesday morning at 11 on the Dove TV.
All right, so should we put term limits on public servants?
Yeah.
Yeah, when politics became a career, then civilian and civil service was thrown under the bus.
Yes, it was.
And so, in the meantime, our own U.S. Senator Ron Wyden is in his 5th decade in Congress.
Oof.
And is basically, at the moment, not showing any inclination of stepping aside, while at the same time, pressure builds on Democrat office holders to give way to a new generation. Okay? Now, he says he plans to seek another term in 2028, and he'll be 79 years old. Let me just say something to all of us here. I know Senator Wyden. Actually, as a person, he's really a nice guy.
Okay.
And I've sat down. We've talked on many occasions. I always kid him because I carried his luggage from the airplane one day.
Yeah.
And I said, I just want you to know that we Republicans are more servant than you guys are. I mean, I was really rubbing it in on the guy, and he laughed, And there was a couple times we did interviews together. I would say as a person, he's a nice guy. Politically and his policy, we're polar opposites.
Yeah.
But if there's ever a time for somebody to rise up and run now, it's the time. You can get him on a lot of stuff. You can get him on his voting record.
Mm-hmm.
You can get him on his carpetbagging.
I was going to mention that, yeah.
And so I will say one thing about Senator Wyden, okay, and all the years that he's been in Senate. He has visited all 36 counties once, sometimes twice a year.
Oh.
So he does make his rounds, okay, which is part of your job, quite frankly. But so he's saying he's going to run again while there's pressure for a new generation. We'll see. All right, 2028 is a little ways out there. I wouldn't be surprised somebody pops up.
Oh, yeah.
Even another Democrat could pop up.
Yes.
But if there's ever a time for a strong Republican, remember the last Republican we had there was Gordon Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and so it's possible a Republican can serve in the seat, and you just got to have the right person who can talk and argue the issues and go for it. So we'll see what happens. All right, one last thing. I had Commissioner Colleen Roberts on yesterday. We're talking about this proposed next special session coming up in Oregon to deal with ODOT. ODOT, as you know, can't account for $1 billion, and yet the answer to that problem is they want more money. Now, I'm really worried about this because I think my whole rant and rave is falling on dead ears. Anyway, it is what it is. But she gets it, and here's what she had to say about gas tax and everything else that's going on.
Well, we got talking about this and talking about the performance of Tina Kotek, in our conversation, and in our upcoming meeting tonight with the Republican Party and how we can get involved as Republicans. Where's our place, and how can we? stop. I don't know how we can stop this or affect it. It's really in full gear. I think, in my opinion, it is really. It's really mismanagement of our governor. Yeah. This all stemmed from a lack of funding in the Oregon Department of Transportation. A year ago, when the Transportation Commission was here, and I was in that meeting, and all they could talk, it went around the room, how can we raise more money? And it was all, how can we tax, Oregonians more? And when it came my turn to speak, I said, all we hear is how we can get more money. I don't hear a balance. How can you be more efficient? How can you make cuts? How can that meet in the middle somewhere? And they looked at me and they with kind of a deer in the headlights look, like that's a foreign language at the state level. But then in January, they did an audit and found better than $1 billion accounting error in this department. Right. And their response is this: more money off the backs of Oregonians.
I'm telling you, folks, this is going to be one of the greatest ripoffs. And the only thing I can say is, just my suggestion. Go to the Oregon State website. Thank you, Scott, for putting this up. So there's the Oregon Senate website. You can go to the Oregon House website, and it'll list every senator, every representative. It'll give you their email. Send one letter to all of them. Now, craft a good letter. Send a letter to all of them, and including the governor, that you don't want this bill to go through. You cannot raise 6 cents on the gallon, $40 on vehicle registration. And guess what else is going to happen? This really ticks me off. I guess I'm a lone horse on this. It doubles the payroll tax.
Oh.
And so it's coming down on you, on your job, and us as employers to pay for a pothole. And it won't go away. So anyway, I'm done arguing it because, man, it seems to be falling on deaf ears. So we'll see what happens. All right, so much for that. Let's take a look at the satellite image. Well, you know, you can see some movement out there. So the high-pressure ridge is beginning to break down a little bit, and we'll begin to see a little bit cooler airflow starting
today. Check this out, Perry. Not only that, we're going to drop like 10 degrees by tomorrow. We're going to go into the mid-80s, and then by Saturday and Sunday, there's actually a chance of showers, with highs in the mid to upper 70s on Saturday and low 80s on Sunday. But of course, that brings with it maybe some dangers.
Yeah, thunderstorms.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are looking at that upcoming meeting between the president of the United States and the president of Russia. It's interesting. They're going to go to Elmendorf Air Force Base in Anchorage, Alaska. And former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo discusses the upcoming meeting between Trump and Putin on Fox's Jesse Watters Primetime.
Brun, I'm very glad there's a meeting, and I think the way this has been sequenced for the president's first months in office makes this timing absolutely perfect. President Trump has put real pressure on the Russians. That's why Putin's talking. There's a good reason that Joe Biden didn't get asked for a meeting with Vladimir Putin. He didn't need to. He could continue to roll. Putin knows that he's played out the string. He might try to stiff President Trump on Friday, 96 hours from now. I'd be very surprised because the cost to him, if he does that, will be extremely high. So I think President Trump is showing up with an enormous amount of leverage. I'm confident that he will use that to, you heard him say, he'll know in a couple of minutes if there's an opportunity here. But even the Europeans, even that have been fighting alongside the Ukrainians just as we have been, putting resources in there, they can see, too, this needs to come to an end. And Secretary General Rutte nailed it. President Trump is the perfect person at the perfect time to bring this war to resolution on terms that are really good for Europe and good for America.
Okay, so there's a lot of possibilities on this deal. One is I don't think Ukraine becomes part of NATO. Whether it becomes part of the EU is yet to be seen. So, but will land be swamped out of that? Some people say yes, some people say no. I think the business acumen of President Trump will say to President Putin, Vladimir, buddy, don't you want McDonald's back? Don't you want Burger King back?
Yes.
We can bring those back.
Right.
Let's make a deal here. We'll make a trade deal.
Right.
And we'll bring all of these great Western companies back to Moscow.
Right. If you take these troops out here, we'll even throw in a Trader Joe's over here.
We'll put it in, And if you want, we'll talk about a Costco, okay?
Yeah. That's a good point, though.
We'll boost your economy. Wouldn't you rather have a happy people and a happy economy?
Right.
Than being known for a military failure in Ukraine?
Yeah, well, they had to feel the impact of all those American businesses pulling out.
And there's another part of this story.
What?
Unless Ukraine gets another huge surge of money from all over the world, they could be done by December.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, and that means, Putin could go in and take over. So we'll see what happens. But, hey, Vladimir, come on. Haven't you missed your Big Mac? We'll be right back.
Okay.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Co-op, where big ideas grow.
It can be puzzling assembling all the right pieces for your insurance needs in retirement. I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. guiding you through the stormy seas of insurance. Lighthouse stands out as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today, 541-494-1034.
Hey, it's your old car here. Remember me? Remember us? You barely even turn me on anymore. It's clear you don't need me, but that's perfectly fine, my friend, because you can choose to give this old car new purpose and donate. There are incredible nonprofits out there that accept cars just like me. So call or donate online. Donating a vehicle is easy, the pickup is free, and your gift is tax deductible. Woohoo!
Oh, gosh,
Time's flying, huh?
Yeah, hi. What are you doing out there? You know what? I was reading the bottom of the log.
Oh, well,
You know,
it happens sometimes.
See this thing here?
Yeah.
Jerry and I.
That's our roadmap, isn't it?
We have no idea what that is.
Sometimes we need to recalculate.
Yeah, we're great mathematicians here. We know how to subtract. All right, let's check in with CBN News Watch.
This is CBN News Watch.
It is Wednesday, August 13th, going to begin this half hour in the Middle East, where Israel is moving ahead with its plan to expand the war against Hamas in Gaza, as a new report accuses Hamas of systematically torturing the hostages. And Israel says Hamas is inflating the death toll in Gaza to discredit the Jewish state. CBN's Paul Petit brings us the story, reporting from Jerusalem.
Saying the window has closed on a partial hostage deal, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declares the war in Gaza will end on Israel's terms.
It's behind us. We tried. We made all kinds of attempts. We went through a lot, but it turned out that they were just misleading us. And in any case, they will leave a lot of hostages in their hands, both the living and the dead, and we want them all.
This morning, the head of the IDF approved the plans for the expanded offensive in the Gaza Strip. Israel may still send negotiators to Qatar this week to push for a final ceasefire and the release of all hostages, with full support from President Trump.
October 7th was one of the worst days in history. We saw innocent people slaughtered, murdered, kidnapped by Hamas terrorists. The administration has made our goal clear. We want to see this conflict end. We want to see the hostages released. And the president and his national security team have given extensive effort and time to doing that.
The new report given to the Red Cross confirms what the world saw in recent videos. Hamas is systematically torturing Israeli hostages. Israel's health ministry says the 12 hostages freed earlier this year endured sexual harassment, worm-infested food, and months without showers or clean clothes.
We weren't allowed to move. We were starved while they ate in front of us. We were thirsty because they didn't give us water, even though they drank water and ate in front of us. And we weren't allowed to even cry.
The UN put Hamas on a blacklist citing sexual violence during the October 7th attacks. However, it also warned Israel might be put on that same list in the future for alleged abuse of Palestinian detainees. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, called the accusation unfounded and absurd. An Israeli report says Hamas has inflated Palestinian malnutrition deaths in a campaign to discredit Israel.
There are no war crimes. On the contrary, for us, the suffering in Gaza is a tragedy. For Hamas, it's a strategy.
New video shows another Israeli strike taking out 5 armed terrorists posing as humanitarian aid workers for World Central Kitchen. In Jerusalem, Paul Petit, CBN News.
Here at home, the MAGA movement that propelled Donald Trump to office has been rumbling about some of his actions lately. First came the division over the Epstein files, and now there seems to be a split among some supporters when it comes to the president's support for Israel. CBN's chief political analyst David Brody has this story.
America's support for Israel has always been strong, and overall, while it still is, some far-right high-profile influencers have taken a hard turn against the Jewish state.
Everything they're doing is demonic. I want nothing to do with it. I will never support Israel into the future after what they've done to these children, the starvation campaign. I don't care.
Others, like Steve Bannon and Tucker Carlson, want America out of Israel's affairs. Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of MAGA's biggest voices in Congress, has called what's happening in Gaza genocide. Poll numbers also seem to suggest a slight drop in Israeli support among the GOP. 15 years ago, in 2010, Republican support for Israel stood at 85%. Today, it's still strong, yet down to 75%. The more alarming statistic among Republicans today is that 37% have a negative view of the Jewish state. That's up 10% from just 2022, when it was 27%. Part of what's driving some of this MAGA division is coming from younger voters. It's a generation that is much more wary of international conflicts and has bought into President Trump's non-interventionist approach. For example, while 72% of Republicans overall believe America's military should support Israel, only 32% of Gen Z Trump voters feel that way. Julian Becerra, a conservative influencer on TikTok, agrees.
We need to invest in the United States first. And I think it's hypocritical of conservatives to say, yes, we're for deportations. We want to, build the wall, seal up the border, to put America first, but also say, hold on, because it's Israel, let's go ahead and send them billions of dollars.
It's part of a free-thinking mindset fueled by the powerful social media landscape.
I think the younger demographic, which has access to the social media and understands that platform, can hear the different opposing views, and they're starting to make up their mind and not just have that blind support for it.
While that's true, there are plenty of young conservatives who are pushing back. 19-year-old Breland Hollyhand works with the RNC to get out the Gen Z vote.
I think that that's a fringe that has gotten really loud. It certainly doesn't represent the vast majority of MAGA that I talk to, specifically on college campuses, just from my perspective. For me specifically, this support of Israel isn't a political stance, it's a biblical stance. And it's very clear, repeatedly throughout the Bible that those that bless Israel, the Lord will bless them. That's not something that is old or false or dated. That is still a truth here in 2025.
What's also true in 2025 is a MAGA movement trying to understand where Israel fits into an America First agenda. David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Well, I think the young man said it right. It's not a political view; it's a biblical thing, and this could be a separating of the wheat from the tares.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yep.
I'm not surprised by it. I'm disappointed by it, but I'm not surprised by it.
Yeah,
it also shows that it's perhaps that our can I use the term Christian or biblical influence in public policy is starting to fade.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, which is alarming to me.
It is.
All right, John O'Connor will be with us. Hey, looking forward to having him because he's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
So we look forward to that.
Yeah, let's take a look at our weather.
Let's take a look at the weather.
Yeah.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Today will mark the beginning of temperatures starting to move down, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with highs in the mid-80s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville, and near 90 in Wilsonville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with sunny skies and daytime high temperatures in the upper 80s for Salem, Albany, and Corvallis, and near 90 in Eugene, with a northwest wind 5 to 9 miles per hour this afternoon. Sunny and breezy with red flag warnings across central Oregon with highs in the low 90s for Prineville and Bend and near 87 in Sun River. Sunny, hot, and breezy this afternoon in Boise, Idaho with a high temperature near 99. More early patchy fog this morning along the coast, then clearing to sunny to mostly sunny with daytime highs in the low 70s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, near 59 in Brookings, and low 60s in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny and hot with a fire weather watch for the Rogue Valley and the Klamath Basin with daytime highs near 99 in Grants Pass, 100 in Medford, and low to mid-90s for Ashland and Klamath Falls. Into northern California, sunny and hot with a high near 97 in Wairika and near 98 in Redding. Sunny with highs in the mid-90s around Chico and near 90 in Sacramento with a light southwest wind. Cloudy skies across the Bay Area this morning, then gradual clearing with daytime high temperatures in the mid to upper 70s for Santa Rosa and Napa, near 68 in San Francisco with gusty winds, and near 83 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Wednesday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, a beautiful shot moving around up there this morning. That's got to be on the east side looking westward, and because of the shadow there. So beautiful shot, and that one's looking more to the north, which is that's the valley out there. So be careful.
Yeah, as we change directions, of course, I start thinking of compass headings, and it reminds me of our trip that we just took visiting family. And as we rolled onto the runway, I looked out the window and I looked to see what the number was on that runway. I'm not kidding you.
Really?
I did. All right. Well, yesterday we talked a little bit about Henry Ford because he took the first Model T out for the first test drive and took it camping just to see if it could go through the paces. Well, we're looking at Henry Ford again today, this time because it was the day that he unveiled the soybean car.
On August 13th, 1941, Henry Ford unveiled the visionary soybean car at Dearborn Days in Michigan, an experimental automobile with a plastic body made largely from farm-grown ingredients. Ford, who had grown up on a farm, dreamt of merging agriculture and industry, and he thought soybeans had the most promise in manufacturing. The car's body, attached to a tubular steel frame, featured 14 lightweight panels, reportedly made from a blend of soybeans, wheat, hemp, flax, and ramie. One of the creators, Lowell E. Overby, described the material as soybean fiber in phenolic resin. At about 2,000 pounds, it was nearly 1,000 pounds lighter than a standard steel car, offering improved fuel efficiency and, according to Ford, enhanced safety. Ford saw this not only as an automobile innovation, but a bold way to integrate agriculture with industry, reduce reliance on scarce metals during wartime, and showcase sustainable manufacturing. But the experiment stalled. With World War II underway, metal shortages and shifting priorities ended production. The prototype was never mass-produced, and according to accounts, its sole example was eventually destroyed. Though the soybean car didn't make it to the assembly line, it remains a striking symbol of Ford's daring vision, as he was ahead of his time in the development of soy plastic and the use of plastic parts in car manufacturing.
Now half of our cars are plastic.
Yeah.
It was the first one right there.
How about if you see one of those in a museum somewhere?
Yeah, no, they're gone. It was destroyed. It doesn't exist. The images that we saw, that's all there is left.
There's one in Jay Leno's barn. We've got one.
It's
over there in the corner.
You may be right.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com. Clean water is essential to your good health. Ultra Pure Purified Water has been delivering purified, healthy drinking water to the Rogue Valley since 1995. Locally owned and family run, Ultra Pure Purified Water uses a multi-stage process ensuring your delivery of water is 99.8% pure, so your family stays hydrated and healthy. Online at ultrapurewaterinc.com or call 541-734-0828. 541-734-0828.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Leiser with Leiser Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
All right, good morning to you. 11 minutes before the hour. Well, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, he kind of gets involved in a lot of things. You know, I was telling Jerry earlier, I was a little worried about him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought the job was bigger than him.
And he was maybe a little young.
A little young. He's a little fireball, you know. But because he had all that exposure in media, he knows how to handle the media, and he knows how the media works. And I think he's grown into the job pretty well. But anyway, he joined Laura Ingraham there on Fox the other day and spoke about the president's federalizing the police force in Washington, D.C. And here's what he had to say.
We're going to work right alongside our law enforcement partners as force multipliers. This is what the American people voted for, Laura. This is what the common sense, clarity, strength. I hadn't heard that story from President Trump before, the story he told about his father, that he told him, hey, son, if you look at the front door of a restaurant and it's dirty, then I bet the kitchen, you can count on the fact that the kitchen is too. And I sat there thinking that's exactly right. If our capital city is a mess, if we can't control our capital city, then what does the rest of the country look like? And what signals does the rest of the country take from that? So just like we did in Los Angeles, alongside our federal law, we took a lot of criticism for 4,000 troops, 700 Marines. You know what we didn't get? There was no summer of love in 2020. In 2025, there was a summer of law enforcement. And we quelled the protests of the attacks on ICE officers. We're going to help get D.C. under control by working with local officials who have been federalized, with federal officials who are coming in. The D.C. Guard's proud to be a part of it. Other states will contribute this week going into the weeks to come. Whatever's needed, the DOD will provide to make sure this is a safe city for those who live here, for those that work here, and the Americans who want to come visit here and love our capital city.
That is so perfect.
Well, you know, I can't imagine that somehow the Democrats are against this, but they are.
Yeah, well, because, you know, where does it come from?
Oh, yeah. Okay, it's a little bit of a derangement.
Yeah, TDS.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Well, here's a great story about a rugby team that went way above and beyond.
They didn't just climb a mountain, they carried a dream to the top. In Wales, the Bangor Rugby Club just turned a lifelong wish into reality for one of their biggest fans, who's the dad of one of their teammates. 66-year-old Phil Thompson has been in a wheelchair since a motorcycle accident at age 19, but always dreamed of reaching the summit of Snowdon, the highest mountain in Wales. When the team learned his story, they tied it into a fundraiser for their youth program. Just days before the climb, their plan for an electric wheelchair fell through, but a local welding shop built a custom carrying frame for free. At 5 a.m., the team set off, taking turns carrying Phil up 3,650 feet. 3 hours later, cheers, hugs, and the view he'd waited decades to see. The climb raised over $2,100, and as the club says, this is what community, determination, and looking out for each other is all about.
It's very cool. They carried him all the way up. My only question is, can you call a mountain that's 3,600 feet high a mountain?
That's a bump.
I didn't realize that that was the highest point in Wales. That's interesting.
Well, you know, what a great exercise, too.
Yeah.
Pick them up and take them all the way up there.
Carry them up there. They got them all the way, too. That's pretty cool.
All right. Well, coming up, John O'Connor will be with us, and we have a lot to talk to him about. In particular, we have a couple people now who are under investigation. As we know, the AG in New York.
Right.
I wonder where that's going to go.
James, yeah.
So they're looking at her for primarily mortgage fraud, but there was one other thing now, and that is, was she outside the bounds of her jurisdiction going after Trump?
Oh, yeah.
Merson may be. He's the guy that, as you know, went after President Trump on a lot of things. And I understand the president's still under a
gag order?
Gag order
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah.
And then here comes the big meeting at the military base in Alaska with the two presidents.
Right.
This is. I'm glad they're having it at a military base. That way they can control it.
Oh, yeah.
And I would imagine the media is going to be highly selected who's allowed in. I would imagine that both countries have their Snoop Dogs on the scene as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is going to basically turn into a day trip for both presidents, isn't it? Nobody's staying there.
I don't think so, no. So they go in and out, but this is going to be really interesting. The gentleman that I had on yesterday he wrote a book. He actually was worked in the press office for Maggie Thatcher as a young intern.
The Iron Lady.
The Iron Lady.
Yeah.
And anyway, his take on it is that, like we previously have heard, President Trump seems to have all the cards in his hand right now, maybe even, quote, the Trump card. But the point being is that he got President Putin to come to U.S. soil. He didn't have to go to Moscow.
Yeah.
And I guess that sends a huge signal in diplomacy that the president of Putin is coming to the U.S. And that the president isn't going to Moscow.
Yeah.
That apparently this is an attempt of Putin's side to show, yes, I'm willing to make a deal. I'll come to your country.
All right.
I don't understand high-stakes diplomacy, but that's one thing that's being taken down. The other thing is, one guy that I talked to said, no, land will be discussed, but will not be negotiated.
Oh.
Okay, so I don't know.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, there's parts of Ukraine that Russia would like to have.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially parts that they've already occupied.
Right.
So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah,
I don't know. And Zelensky is not coming to the party.
Right.
I think Zelensky will be told, this is the deal, take it. And that will give Ukraine open doors to do an election, and Zelensky will be voted out.
Yep, you may be right.
All right, Colossians chapter 3, verse 15, let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. Quoted this just the other day. Since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful. So let the peace of Christ rule you today. Not the circumstances, not anxiety, and not the headlines.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
Looking for the perfect RV adventure?
Team Toner's got you covered from home to Homes on Wheels.
Discover unbeatable deals only at American RV in Southern Oregon.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the core of our business.
We believe what we do matters.
Every interaction, every transaction is another opportunity
to bring Christ's values into the marketplace.
If you're a technician who wants to be part of something bigger,
or just looking for a new shop to bring your vehicle,
we would love to meet you.
We're Kelly's Automotive Service, where we service your vehicle,
but take care of you.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Baptism is merely a symbol of the spiritual reality. It declares what happens spiritually when we embrace Christ. When I go under the water, I identify with his death and with his burial. Because my friend, in God's eyes, it was me hanging on the cross. Jesus Christ died as my representative. He died as your representative. And when we go under the waters of baptism, I am fully identifying with his death and burial. Coming out of the water, I identify with his resurrection. He came up out of the grave, he received a new life, and death no longer has a hold on him. And my friend, when I embraced Jesus Christ, I came up out of the grave of sin, and sin no longer has a hold on me.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Unchanging truth in an ever-changing world. Turning Point with Dr. David Jeremiah. Weekends on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
Okay, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove, where Jerry Bilden shows up and we all hold on.
For good reason.
Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. A little bit cooler today, and then in the next couple of days, it drops significantly.
Yeah.
So we're looking for a little bit, that high pressure ridge is breaking up, but we have extreme fire danger up and down the Pacific Northwest everywhere, so be careful out there. A lot going on in the news, there always is, and we'll do our best to highlight some of that for you. What's up?
Well, we don't have much this morning, but both of them deal with our culinary expertise and delights. Today is National Filet Mignon Day, and of course celebrating a specialty cut of beef, usually from a steer or a heifer. A filet mignon is a steak taken from the smaller end of the tenderloin of the beef carcass. And in France, it can also refer to pork rather than beef, because filet mignon comes from the most tender portion of the tenderloin. It is one of the most prized cuts, and therefore you can expect to pay the most for it. And due to low levels of fat found in fillets, bacon is often used in cooking. Yeah. It's wrapped around the fillet and pinned closed with a wooden toothpick. Yep. The bacon adds flavor, and this process keeps the fillet from drying out during the cooking process. So there are a number of ways you can prepare and cook filet mignon. And what is your preferred method?
Barbecue.
Barbecue is it, isn't it?
Yeah, and the bacon wrap is good.
Yeah.
140.
140, indeed. Yep, it's moist inside still, between medium rare.
Now, the key is, and I have a tendency to not do this, which is bad. I cook it too fast, and that's not good. You should cook it slow because it'll dry out on you.
Now, we both have wives who like their meat prepared a little different than us.
Peggy likes it well done.
And Pam does too. So I start hers first.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Yep.
Or I take mine off and put it on the upper grill.
There you go. I start hers first, and then when it's kind of like leather, I put it up on the upper grill.
Yeah.
No, I don't cook it that much.
No. So anyway, but you got to remember, it keeps cooking, so you got to kind of build that in.
It does, and you have to plan into that, because we want to rest our meat. Because it finishes that way. So when you pull your meat off and you rest it, do you cover it with foil? Where do you put it?
Well, I have, but I usually leave it on the top grill of the barbecue with the lid down until we're ready to put it on the plate.
All right.
And it still comes off, it's warm, and it still has a little barbecue oomph to it.
Hungry, and it could be what's for breakfast.
Yeah, you could put that on your eggs.
Yeah. Okay, well, hey, one other thing. Do you like Subway sandwiches?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Did you know that the Subway foot-long sandwich isn't a foot long?
Yeah.
They got sued in 2013 for their foot-long sandwiches because somebody measured it out and it wasn't a foot long. And so the food chain explained that the Subway foot-long is merely a brand name and not meant to be the actual measure of the sandwich, and the judge promptly threw the case out. They won. There was an attorney fee worth its weight, huh?
Yeah.
How about that?
That's a fine line, though, between the brand and the intent of the advertising.
Right. And you want to know something weird, though? When I read this, I thought, okay, so how long is a Subway foot-long sandwich? You can't find out. I can't. Google, AI, nobody's got that information. See, it's secret, huh?
But isn't foot long implying?
It's yeah.
Okay, so.
Is that deceptive advertising? Huh?
It's overcome by flavor.
Hey, they've been altering their menu. They had this beef sandwich I had the other day. Garlic beef. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Well, they're a very successful chain.
Yes, they are.
Now you have the Firehouse sub. You ever have one of those?
I have never had that, no.
Oh, they're great, too.
And the other thing I think that helps Subway is they're in Walmart.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you go into Walmart, you get everything you need cheaper, and then you get a sandwich.
They're over here at the Pilot truck stop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You have Yeah, Subway. You have that. What do you call the cinnamon roll thing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what is that?
Yeah.
Cinnabon.
Cinnabon.
Yeah.
And you got Taco Bell.
Take your choice.
At a truck stop.
At the truck.
By the way, there's some. I think I sent you the link on that. The truck stops in the east, where some of them are like 5-star restaurants.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
You go in there, and so anyway.
Some of those truckers, some of them are living pretty good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really cool when you stop in there and say, all right, hey, trucker number 17, your shower's ready. You ever hear that?
Yes. Have you seen
it out at the pubs?
I know. And some of these guys, and I saw a guy toured. Have you seen some of these big rigs with the big sleeper behind it? You know, a lot of them have the sleepers that are small, you know, but the big extended ones. A guy gave a tour on a YouTube video of his. It's like an RV back there.
It is. They live in those things.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I go, oh man, alive, you know.
Wow.
So anyway, all right. Well, here's stall number 17, Jerry. Your shower's ready.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Today will mark the beginning of temperatures starting to move down, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with highs in the mid-80s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville, and near 90 in Wilsonville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with sunny skies and daytime high temperatures in the upper 80s for Salem, Albany, and Corvallis, and near 90 in Eugene, with a northwest wind 5 to 9 miles per hour this afternoon. Sunny and breezy with red flag warnings across central Oregon with highs in the low 90s for Prineville and Bend and near 87 in Sun River. Sunny, hot, and breezy this afternoon in Boise, Idaho with a high temperature near 99. More early patchy fog this morning along the coast, then clearing to sunny to mostly sunny with daytime highs in the low 70s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, near 59 in Brookings, and low 60s in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny and hot with a fire weather watch for the Rogue Valley and the Klamath Basin with daytime highs near 99 in Grants Pass, 100 in Medford, and low to mid-90s for Ashland and Klamath Falls. Into northern California, sunny and hot with a high near 97 in Wairika and near 98 in Redding. Sunny with highs in the mid-90s around Chico and near 90 in Sacramento with a light southwest wind. Cloudy skies across the Bay Area this morning, then gradual clearing with daytime high temperatures in the mid to upper 70s for Santa Rosa and Napa, near 68 in San Francisco with gusty winds, and near 83 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Wednesday weather from Grange Co-op.
And there's a snapshot from the top of Mount Ashland this morning. It's looking out towards the valley.
Yeah,
beautiful shot.
Trying to identify all those pieces of equipment.
Well, I see a microwave.
Yeah.
I see 2 microwaves.
Oh.
I see 3 microwaves. Excuse me. I see the foot of a tower.
Now, when you say microwave, what do you mean?
See those dishes out there?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're sending.
Those are microwave what?
Signals.
Okay, because not a microwave oven.
No. No, those are microwave receive and send dishes.
Okay, all right.
So they're sending and receiving data from down in the valley.
Yeah.
And there's the local television station up there. I won't tell you which one because I'm a little upset with them.
All right. Okay.
But that's how they get their signal to and from.
Can you tell I have food on the brain?
All day long.
Well, I think that, you know, for people who are in step with the Lord, one of the things that we're concerned about at times and pray about at times is being in the will of God. But how do you know what God's will is for you? Well, Pastor Greg Laurie talks about how we can know what the will of God is for our lives.
You want to know God's will? Present yourself to Him. And don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. How do you do that? Fill it with Scripture. And then you'll know God's will. And what does He say about God's will? The good and acceptable will of God. God's will is good. God's will is perfect. Now, sometimes the Lord says no to us. When we want to do something, He says no. Oh, God's out to ruin my fun. No. The Bible says no good thing will He withhold from those that walk uprightly. So if God says no, it's for your own good. Now you're going to have to live a few years to figure that out maybe. Because you say, oh no, I know better than God. Well, you'll see. Don't learn the hard way. Maybe learn from the experience of others. No plan of ours can improve on the will of God. We only see bits and pieces. He sees the whole. He sees the past, the present, and the future in its total context as related to eternity. So don't be afraid to say, not my will, but yours be done. So here's what you need to do. You need to come to the Lord, say, all right, Lord, here's the life you have given me. Here are my plans. Here are my aspirations. Here are my dreams, along with my weaknesses and shortcomings and sins. I offer it all to you because I believe your plans are better than mine. That's really what this is all about.
You know, a little bit of an attitude adjustment there.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff all the way around. All right, 10 and a half past the hour. Let's take a look at some of the top stories for our Wednesday. Kind of interesting out there. A couple of things. Texas has been quite a hot spot lately because the Democrats got up and left town because of reapportionment, gerrymandering, whatever, redistricting, whatever term you want to put on that. And apparently now they're in trouble because they have been out of town past the due date. They were supposed to return by last Friday afternoon.
Okay.
They have conceded now, and they decide that they're going to come back. They didn't say when. However, the governor and the attorney general are faced with a little bit of a challenge. They are now eligible for arrest.
Oh.
Do they arrest them when they come back?
What would you do?
Well, first of all, okay, I guess I'm avoiding this, but let me say that I think, first of all, did they get fined?
Oh,
there was rumors that they were supposed to be fined $500 a day.
Yeah.
That could be a great incentive to come back.
Okay.
Do you give them an option? Do you show an option? You can be expelled, or you're off every committee.
Oh.
And you just sit there and vote.
Oh. Oh.
There has to be a consequence.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
Right.
We'll wait and see. Okay. New poll shows the race for mayor in New York City has Jerry Bilden at 45%.
Well, that's about as unlikely as what it really is.
And your running mate, Mandani, is at 44%.
What an odd couple that would be.
Gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't believe this. He's actually outpolling everybody else.
Everybody.
Former Governor Andrew Cuomo is at 25%. The Republican is at 12%, and current incumbent mayor Eric Adams at 7%. I really thought Adams would be doing better, but he's not. But if you had 25, 12, and 7, you have 44, so it's a split race, but the other three will never consolidate.
Yeah.
So it looks like this socialist, Mandani, is moving ahead with the race. Now, it's a little early to tell, but we'll see what happens. It's 53-32 between Mandani over Cuomo. Now, the president was leaning towards Cuomo.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know where this is going to go, and does the president get involved with it? But guess who just thinks this is the greatest thing since peanut butter? This person right here.
This is an opportunity for every Democrat, for every independent, and for every Republican who feels turned off by a Donald Trump who promised to lower costs and then delivered higher costs for working people, to step up and be part of this race. When someone stands up and says, I will lead this city by making it more affordable, and here are my plans, real plans, plans to deliver on child care, plans to deliver on housing, plans to deliver, we're going to experiment, we're going to try things on groceries. That is the Democratic message.
Okay, well, she's this doesn't surprise me. We know that Elizabeth Warren is, certainly a radical leftist.
Right, another socialist millionaire.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know what New York's going to do. I will say this: if he's elected and he's going to socialize grocery stores and all the things that he's saying he's going to do, and he's going to give away this and give away that, well, guess what? You'll have one of the most impoverished cities in the world.
Yeah.
And the world's greatest city will become Nothing.
Right, and you'll see a bit of an exodus, I think.
I think so, yeah. All right, in the meantime, the takeover of Washington, D.C. crime wave by the federal government, federalizing the police force and sending in the National Guard. Of course, you would expect the left to get upset about this, but the first night that the National Guard's on the job, 39 arrests, first day, including murder suspects, and gun offenders.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, the mayor certainly has calmed down. The mayor is now trying to act like, trying to get ahead of the game. And here's what the mayor said.
The executive order is clear. The president has requested MPD services, and our home rule charter outlines the process. The president designated Attorney General Bondi as his proxy to request services through me.
Okay, so she obviously read the statute, and the president's totally within his bounds for doing this. In the meantime, the chief of police over there, it was kind of interesting, didn't know what the protocol was.
Yeah.
She was asked a question in a news conference and go, wait a minute, you're chief of police and you don't know what the pecking order is here?
Yeah, she got fried on
She really did.
My
so in the meantime, she does try to recover by saying this.
I think this is going to be a good effort. It's going to be an effort that's supported by both teams, the Metropolitan Police Department as well as our federal partners. As you know, we work daily with them. What we've done at this point is we have provided the team, the administrator, with a strategic plan on how we will provide resources around our city.
Okay, so a lot of words there that basically said our federal partners.
Yeah.
Look, what's happened here is the chief of police is getting caught with bad performance.
Yes.
She has no other alternative but to go along with this. And because they don't have a governor and it's not a state, D.C. is under the will of the Congress, and the statutes allow the presidents to call in the National Guard, and that's what's happening here. So.
Yeah, speaking of the National Guard, one of the things that has been observed with this action going on now is that National Guard's on the street, and they're in their uniforms, in their camo uniforms, and they're in front of a lot of the tourist attraction stuff, and people are lining up with them and taking pictures. And, it just brings home the fact that, you hear the National Guard, you think of the National Police Force or whatever. They're real people.
Yeah.
They're sitting out there, they're smiling for the camera, and it's a good thing.
Well, there's a fair share of Democrats pushing back, saying that this is dictatorial. And so Caroline Leavitt, she's really quite the gal. She's going to go down as one of the best press secretaries ever. And here's her pushback on that.
65% of district residents think crime is an extremely serious or a very serious problem, and this was up from 56% last year. So the concern that you share with so many other residents in the District of Columbia is real, and that's why this president is taking action to address it. To get to the heart of your question, I think it's despicable that Democrats cannot agree that we need more law and order in a city that has been ravaged by violence, crime, murders, property theft. This should be a winning issue for all Americans.
Yeah, and this, we had this when he sent it into L.A. to squelch things down. Of course, the mayor down there, everybody gets up tight.
Right.
People want to feel safe and secure. And so I thought Secretary Hegstedt's metaphor was the best one. If you walk up to a restaurant and the door's dirty, there's a good chance that the kitchen is dirty, and do you really want to eat there?
Right.
So if you step into the leading city of our country, Washington, D.C., and it's just absolutely covered with crime, do you really want to go there?
Yeah, what does that say for the rest of our country?
What's to say to the rest of the country? So anyway, one last story, and you'll hear more about this coming up in a minute from CBN Newswatch, but there are, remaining 50 hostages inside Gaza that Hamas has control over. We don't know how many of those are alive. One figure is that 20 are alive, the rest are dead. We don't know that for sure. But Israel leaders told Newsmax that, look, they're going to finish the job and they're going to go in and wipe out Hamas. What are the details to get the hostages out? We don't know.
I don't know,
We don't know.
And it has been pointed out, and I read an interesting story, it said the only people that are starving in Gaza right now are the hostages.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. And the proof now of Hamas stealing all of the aid going to the Palestinians has been exposed, even though a lot of people don't believe that. And so now they're airdropping it in. And so we'll see what happens, but you'll have more on that coming up in just a few moments from CBN Newswatch. But right now, filet mignon breakfast break.
Co-op, where big ideas grow.
At Hellgate Jetboat Excursions, we salute you. Military Mondays are here. Active duty military guard, reserve, and retired military members get 50% off their ticket price every Monday of the season. It's our way of saying thank you for your service. But heads up, this offer is only valid on Mondays. One discount per reservation and can't be booked online. Call to book your adventure today. Hellgate Jetboat Excursions, where adventure runs wild, and we honor our heroes. Some restrictions apply. Visit hellgate.com for details.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Hi, good morning to you. 21 minutes now past the hour, and stand by here because a big announcement is coming that Jerry Bilden is going to run for the U.S. Senate against Ron Wyden. And and I'm going to be your campaign manager. Yeah. The only thing you have to do is show up and say what I tell you to say.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I live in Oregon. I actually go back and sleep in Oregon. I don't live in New York.
Yeah.
Like Ron.
Okay, so I just want you to know that don't worry about the campaign.
Okay.
We'll tell you what to say. Okay. You just got to show up with your pretty model face and go for it. Why am I saying all this? Well,
why?
Our own U.S. Senator Ron Wyden, he's in his 5th decade in Congress. And he basically mentioned, he was out in Sherman County and mentioned the fact that he has no plans on quitting and that he wants to stay in there and fight against Trump. Okay. But he's up for re-election in 28 and he'll be 79. Now, look, I want to say this about Senator. I know Senator Wyden. We've been together on quite a few occasions, and I would say he's really, personally, he's a nice guy. Politically, we couldn't be further apart, okay? But he has a carpetbagging problem, and he has a voting record problem. And so the only thing I can say is that there is a move in Congress to get rid of the old dogs. Can you say Schumer? Can you say Wyden? And can you go? And they already got rid of what's his name? The former minority leader. Because I already forgot his name.
See how soon? That's great.
I don't know. I didn't get much sleep last night. But anyway, the point being is that they're trying to purge and clean the bench of the old dogs and get some new batters up the bat here.
Right.
And so will Senator Wyden be an old dog when 28 rolls around? I have a funny feeling he doesn't run, and I have a funny feeling that there is something else at play, strictly speculation.
Okay.
If you remember, our governor, Tina Kotek, wanted the bill to come through that if there was a vacancy in the U.S. Senate seat, that she could appoint a successor.
Right.
A lot of states have that.
Yes, yeah.
And they have to appoint a successor from the party that was in office. So if Senator Wyden, about 6 months from making all the announcements. He says he's not. No, he doesn't say he's not going to run. He actually announces he's resigning. Okay.
And then she gets.
She gets to appoint somebody,
Right.
and that now is an incumbent going into a primary season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of what happens here. You know?
Could be.
I could be wrong. I mean, I'm just speculating, but he's wide open for somebody to run against him, even though he represents the state liberal bent pretty well. I will say one thing about Senator Wyden.
What?
He has visited all 36 counties every year and sometimes twice a year.
Oh, okay.
And that he's doing his job from New York. And I don't know if he could get caught in a mortgage fraud. I have no idea where he lives up in the Portland area.
Okay, but we do know he has a place in New York. Is it metropolitan New York? If Mamdani becomes mayor, will he be Wyden's mayor?
I don't know that.
I don't either.
I don't know that. I think it would be a fun thing to watch.
Yeah.
Okay. The last story is, I've been harping pretty hard about this gas tax coming at us in a special session, and I'm a little defeated at the moment. I feel alone in this, so maybe I'm wrong. But the point being is that the governor wants to raise a gas tax, registration fees, payroll taxes, and the list goes on in some convoluted package that she's going to present to the special session of our legislature at the end of the month to bail ODOT out. And ODOT can't account for $1 billion that they can't account for. So the answer is, let's give them more money.
Yeah.
And the threat of, well, your potholes aren't going to fix, your bridges are weak and all that. No, you start firing people at the top that mismanage things. So it looks like we're not going to call for an audit, and this bill's getting pushed through. The question is, and I still believe this, if we stand up, we can stop this. And so you should go to the Oregon Legislature's website. You'll see the House members, you'll see the Senate members. It gives you everybody's name, gives you everybody's email. Send one email to all of them. By the way, be polite with your email. And send it to the governor and say, no, we don't want this. Audit ODOT. Stop this nonsense. And it will kill business. It will.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I ran into somebody the other day that just really stopped me. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. When you go to Costco and you buy Dave's bread, you get 2 loaves, right? And if you look at that, for 2 loaves, it's a good deal.
Yes, it is.
But it's not a good deal for somebody that can't afford it.
Right. Yeah.
So they have to go to another store and buy a 1 loaf, which is higher net value than the 2 loaves that you get at Costco. That loaf of bread's going to go up now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I don't understand this thinking. This is absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah.
We're going to award an agency for mismanagement.
Yeah, well, you mentioned, I wanted to ask you about this. You just mentioned, send an email in, but be nice in your email. Is it easy to be not nice in our email?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You get any of those? I'm sorry.
Is Hector a puppy?
I apologize. But it's true. Sometimes, our texts and our emails.
I get, you get them too, but I get a lot of emails. And I don't get me wrong, folks. I do. If you sign them, I read them. If you don't sign them, I throw them away.
That's a good policy.
Okay, so, but if letters and emails. So emails, you can see who sends it. So I read them. Okay. And I realize there's opposing views or different views when it comes to anything that would be social or political.
Yeah.
But the harshest ones I get are the ones that are theological.
Oh.
That's the harshest ones that I get are people that will say something on the air. I'll make a comment on a scripture.
Right.
Or a comment about Israel or something like that.
Yeah.
Wham.
No kidding. Wow.
So we're divided across the board.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so much for all that nonsense. Let's take a look at Wall Street. Right here on the Dove. Thank you, Preston. He's a neat guy. He has smart lines. If you're smart, you'll call him. The Dow's really happy, heading up 394 after yesterday's high, too. The Dow's up 84 and the S&P up almost 29 points. So it may be all on the happy feeling of the big meeting coming up Friday.
Yeah. That
pushed gold up to 34.10. Silver's back to 38.5. Crude oil is down. We're down about 40 cents, $65.11 a barrel. There you go. Good stuff.
Well, you mentioned the big meeting coming up, and obviously the meeting of the presidents.
The presidents.
Going to Anchorage, Alaska. Well, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo spoke with Fox News about the Ukraine army and the upcoming Trump-Putin meeting, saying that Trump will lay down the law.
Right. The best trained army in Europe today is the Ukrainian military. They've done that with tremendous support from the Europeans and from the United States of America, but they should be credited with pushing back against a much bigger nation than theirs. Putin knows that. You'll see 96 hours from now, Vladimir Putin understands that he has been totally unsuccessful at achieving his goal, political control of Ukraine. He's not going to get that. And now there's an opportunity to sequence this properly, to get the ceasefire and deliver an outcome that is a really good outcome, one that demonstrates that Vladimir Putin made a tragic mistake and that he lost this war. I think, Brian, we should all settle in. These next 3.5, 4 days before the summit, people are going to put out their maximalist positions. But what will really take place, and the important moment, is when those two leaders are in the room and President Trump lays down the law, which I'm very confident that he will.
Okay, yeah, I think there's so much on the table. NATO, joining NATO won't be an issue.
Right.
The EU thing is still kind of up in the air. Land, more and more people are thinking land may not be a part of the agreement. I think it's all going to be economics.
Oh, yeah.
Tariffs, oil, and I think Don's going to lean over to Vladimir. You say, Vladimir.
Yeah.
You missed your Big Mac. Wouldn't you like to have McDonald's back? And if you're really good to this, we'll make this all work out. I'll talk to Costco and see if they can put a store in Moscow for you.
Don't you miss your Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Don't you miss Kentucky Fried Chicken? I mean, all those companies left.
Absolutely.
Don't you want this economic boost back in?
Well,
by the way, and don't you really want your price of oil, to kind of be stabilized? Otherwise, I'm gonna tariff to death everybody that buys oils from you, and you won't see the golden arches the rest of your life. I kind of got a funny feeling it has more of a business twist to it than it has land and all this other stuff.
It could very well.
Yeah,
it could.
Oh well, that's my 2 cents. We'll be right back.
Chris Silva understands your home and your commercial buildings are two of the largest investments most people make in a lifetime. One is for your family, the other is to support your family financially. That is why Chris Silva Painting goes the extra mile to protect both homes and commercial buildings with proper painting preparation and high-quality primers and paints. Serving Southern Oregon since 2006, this family-owned and operated business has painted over 1,000 homes. Chris Silva Painting offers an industry-leading 5-year warranty that covers materials and labor on all painting projects. Work for both residential and commercial buildings, both interior and exterior painting. Chris and his crew are courteous, they are efficient, organized, timely, and clean. Chris Silva Painting also offers military discounts. At Chris Silva Painting, our mission statement is to bring Christ's heart and principles to our customers and our job sites. We do that with honesty, integrity, and hard work. We don't cut corners, we paint them. CCB number 176097. Chris Silva Painting, 541-890-3960.
The most challenging things that happens when you're doing interviews is you interview somebody that their answer is yes, no, yes, no. Those are very, very difficult to do, and you hope it's over real soon. Then you have those that you ask a question to, and they just go on and on and on. I mean, you could literally leave the set, go out and have a hamburger, and come back, and they're still answering the question.
Focus Today, weekdays at 8 on the Dove Radio and TV.
At Rogue Hearing in Phoenix, we help you hear life again, clearly and comfortably. From expert hearing tests to custom aids and more, the team at Rogue Hearing delivers care you can trust. Rogue Hearing in Phoenix at the shops at Exit 24. Personalized hearing care right here at home.
If you enjoy the Dove, help spread the word. Tell someone who needs the love of Jesus about the Dove TV. If they can't receive a signal, the Dove streams worldwide on Roku and Apple TV, plus online at thedove.us. Spread the word.
Okay, good morning. How you doing? Happy Happy Wednesday. Everybody's kind of happy today. The stock market's up.
Yeah.
Temperatures are coming down.
Right.
Jerry's running for the U.S. Senate.
Yeah.
Our lighting grid's almost built out there.
Oh, that's good news. I noticed that right away when I came.
Yeah, we're slowly making some progress around here. Man, it's been painful.
More for some than others. Yes.
You know, I come from somewhat of a construction back. My dad was in that in our family.
Uh-huh.
And I've learned to love and hate it at the same time. I like what it does, and I like what it ends up being. You take something, nothing, and you make it into something.
Yeah.
That's construction, okay?
Yeah.
But what goes on in between is just enough to put you in the nut house. You know? Not to mention the poorhouse.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
Trying to manage this thing, going up and down with these costs and trying to be prudent with it and good stewardship in today's world.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, why did I say all that? I don't know. Let's check in with CBN News Watch.
This is CBN News Watch.
It is Wednesday, August 13th, going to begin this half hour in the Middle East, where Israel is moving ahead with its plan to expand the war against Hamas in Gaza, as a new report accuses Hamas of systematically torturing the hostages. And Israel says Hamas is inflating the death toll in Gaza to discredit the Jewish state. CBN's Paul Petit brings us the story, reporting from Jerusalem.
Saying the window has closed on a partial hostage deal, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declares the war in Gaza will end on Israel's terms.
It's behind us. We tried. We made all kinds of attempts. We went through a lot, but it turned out that they were just misleading us. And in any case, they will leave a lot of hostages in their hands, both the living and the dead, and we want them all.
This morning, the head of the IDF approved the plans for the expanded offensive in the Gaza Strip. Israel may still send negotiators to Qatar this week to push for a final ceasefire and the release of all hostages, with full support from President Trump.
October 7th was one of the worst days in history. We saw innocent people slaughtered, murdered, kidnapped by Hamas terrorists. The administration has made our goal clear. We want to see this conflict end. We want to see the hostages released. And the president and his national security team have given extensive effort and time to doing that.
The new report given to the Red Cross confirms what the world saw in recent videos. Hamas is systematically torturing Israeli hostages. Israel's health ministry says the 12 hostages freed earlier this year endured sexual harassment, worm-infested food, and months without showers or clean clothes.
We weren't allowed to move. We were starved while they ate in front of us. We were thirsty because they didn't give us water, even though they drank water and ate in front of us. And we weren't allowed to even cry.
The UN put Hamas on a blacklist citing sexual violence during the October 7th attacks. However, it also warned Israel might be put on that same list in the future for alleged abuse of Palestinian detainees. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, called the accusation unfounded and absurd. An Israeli report says Hamas has inflated Palestinian malnutrition deaths in a campaign to discredit Israel.
There are no war crimes. On the contrary, for us, the suffering in Gaza is a tragedy. For Hamas, it's a strategy.
New video shows another Israeli strike taking out 5 armed terrorists posing as humanitarian aid workers for World Central Kitchen. In Jerusalem, Paul Petit, CBN News.
Here at home, the MAGA movement that propelled Donald Trump to office has been rumbling about some of his actions lately. First came the division over the Epstein files, and now there seems to be a split among some supporters when it comes to the president's support for Israel. CBN's chief political analyst David Brody has this story.
America's support for Israel has always been strong, and overall, while it still is, some far-right high-profile influencers have taken a hard turn against the Jewish state.
Everything they're doing is demonic. I want nothing to do with it. I will never support Israel into the future after what they've done to these children, the starvation campaign. I don't care.
Others, like Steve Bannon and Tucker Carlson, want America out of Israel's affairs. Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of MAGA's biggest voices in Congress, has called what's happening in Gaza genocide. Poll numbers also seem to suggest a slight drop in Israeli support among the GOP. 15 years ago, in 2010, Republican support for Israel stood at 85%. Today, it's still strong, yet down to 75%. The more alarming statistic among Republicans today is that 37% have a negative view of the Jewish state. That's up 10% from just 2022 when it was 27%. Part of what's driving some of this MAGA division is coming from younger voters. It's a generation that is much more wary of international conflicts and has bought into President Trump's non-interventionist approach. For example, while 72% of Republicans overall believe America's military should support Israel, only 32% of Gen Z Trump voters feel that way. Julian Becerra, a conservative influencer on TikTok, agrees.
We need to invest in the United States first. And I think it's hypocritical of conservatives to say, yes, we're for deportations. We want to, build the wall, seal up the border to put America first, but also say, hold on, because it's Israel, let's go ahead and send them billions of dollars.
It's part of a free-thinking mindset fueled by the powerful social media landscape.
I think the younger demographic, which has access to the social media and understands that platform, can hear the different opposing views, and they're starting to make up their mind and not just have that blind support for it.
While that's true, there are plenty of young conservatives who are pushing back. 19-year-old Breland Hollyhand works with the RNC to get out the Gen Z vote.
I think that that's a fringe that has gotten really loud. It certainly doesn't represent the vast majority of MAGA that I talk to, specifically on college campuses, just from my perspective. For me specifically, this support of Israel isn't a political stance, it's a biblical stance. And it's very clear, repeatedly throughout the Bible that those that bless Israel, the Lord will bless them. That's not something that is old or false or dated. That is still a truth here in 2025.
What's also true in 2025 is a MAGA movement trying to understand where Israel fits into an America First agenda. David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
Well, that's pretty interesting. See how that plays out. It goes down the road here. But the next several weeks, I think, is going to play a lot going on in Israel, not to mention what's going on with Ukraine. By the way, it's been a long time since I've had David Brody on. I need to call him and get him on. He's really a cool guy. Remember when I had him on and he decided he was going to run for mayor of Medford?
Yes.
Remember that? Yeah. He announced his candidacy. He wanted to run for the mayor.
Yes, I do.
I said, David, okay, you'd be a little bit of a carpetbagger. He said, so?
So? You guys have one anyway.
So? But I need to call him and say, hey, you've been missing some council meetings. Anything I can do to help you? All right, let's take a look at the weather for you here.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. Today will mark the beginning of temperatures starting to move down. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with highs in the mid-80s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville, and near 90 in Wilsonville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with sunny skies and daytime high temperatures in the upper 80s for Salem, Albany, and Corvallis, and near 90 in Eugene, with a northwest wind 5 to 9 miles per hour this afternoon. Sunny and breezy with red flag warnings across central Oregon with highs in the low 90s for Prineville and Bend and near 87 in Sun River. Sunny, hot, and breezy this afternoon in Boise, Idaho with a high temperature near 99. More early patchy fog this morning along the coast, then clearing to sunny to mostly sunny with daytime highs in the low 70s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, near 59 in Brookings, and low 60s in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny and hot with a fire weather watch for the Rogue Valley and the Klamath Basin with daytime highs near 99 in Grants Pass, 100 in Medford, and low to mid-90s for Ashland and Klamath Falls. Into northern California, sunny and hot with a high near 97 in Wairika and near 98 in Redding. Sunny with highs in the mid-90s around Chico and near 90 in Sacramento with a light southwest wind. Cloudy skies across the Bay Area this morning, then gradual clearing with daytime high temperatures in the mid to upper 70s for Santa Rosa and Napa, near 68 in San Francisco with gusty winds, and near 83 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Wednesday weather from Grange Co-op.
Beautiful shot of our backyard. We call it home, and that is known as the Rogue Valley.
215?
Yeah, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So that's the degree of the camera there this morning. So it's kind of looking out towards where we are.
Okay.
So, right?
Oh, yeah.
But that's also the color of dry and hot.
Boy, is it.
And extreme fire danger. Be careful out there. All right.
Well, yesterday we talked a little bit about Henry Ford, and we're going to do it again. He was a pretty active guy.
Yeah.
Yesterday he took for his Model T for a test drive and took it camping, an extended test drive. Well, today was the day in history that he unveiled the soybean car.
On August 13, 1941, Henry Ford unveiled the visionary soybean car at Dearborn Days in Michigan, an experimental automobile with a plastic body made largely from farm-grown ingredients. Ford, who had grown up on a farm, dreamt of merging agriculture and industry, and he thought soybeans had the most promise in manufacturing. The car's body, attached to a tubular steel frame, featured 14 lightweight panels, reportedly made from a blend of soybeans, wheat, hemp, flax, and ramie. One of the creators, Lowell E. Overby, described the material as soybean fiber in phenolic resin. At about 2,000 pounds, it was nearly 1,000 pounds lighter than a standard steel car, offering improved fuel efficiency and, according to Ford, enhanced safety. Ford saw this not only as an automobile innovation, but a bold way to integrate agriculture with industry, reduce reliance on scarce metals during wartime, and showcase sustainable manufacturing. But the experiment stalled. With World War II underway, metal shortages and shifting priorities ended production. The prototype was never mass-produced, and according to accounts, its sole example was eventually destroyed. Though the soybean car didn't make it to the assembly line, it remains a striking symbol of Ford's daring vision, as he was ahead of his time in the development of soy plastic and the use of plastic parts in car manufacturing.
And of course, our cars these days, half of it's plastic or more. So he was really ahead of his time. But what he wasn't ahead of his time on? Design. That car was ugly.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Okay. Well, it's in the eye of the beholder.
It was the only one.
It was the only one.
I think it's in Leno's garage.
It's in Leno's garage.
It's back there in the corner somewhere.
If anybody had it, it would be Leno.
Jay would have it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is interesting, as you know, that the Democrats got up and left town over there in Texas because they didn't want to vote for the redistricting, which is kind of interesting. That's a whole other can of worms. Anyway, Will from Campus Reform went on campus to find out what the students think about this.
Have you heard about the lawmakers that recently fled the state of Texas?
Very briefly, I have, yeah.
What do you think about that?
I show up to work. I think you probably show up to work. I don't see a reason why everyone can't show up to work.
I'm not entirely too sure.
It's quitting, even though you're still getting paid for it. So, really mad about it. That's pretty interesting.
I do support their decision to leave.
If there was a project that you were working at your job, and for whatever reason you didn't like it, so you decided just not to show up to work one day, how would that go over for you?
I would be fired.
You'd be fired?
Yeah.
Reprimanded for sure. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Most likely I'll get fired. Well, it wouldn't go well, especially with management. If we're thinking about it work-wise.
I would probably be talked to later, potentially reprimanded.
And let's say you were gonna take a flight somewhere, right? And the flight attendants didn't like the route that they were about to take. So they decided not to show up, and as a result, you missed your flight. How would that make you feel?
I feel like I would show up in the wrong place, and that's not them doing their job.
I want to ask why they're feeling that way, and maybe if they have a good enough reason, I would be on their side.
Disappointed, bad, mad, all bad feelings, because I put my trust in them when I bought the flight.
I guess if my flight was delayed or something for whatever reason, it wouldn't make me feel good, but I'm also a very understanding person.
Do you think that these legislators who aren't showing up to do the job that they were elected to do are acting kind of like children, throwing temper tantrums, not wanting to show up to work?
If I knew more, maybe I'd go to an extreme, and I hear you and I hear what you're saying in the comparison. I would say that it's a little bit unprofessional. I think that everyone can agree upon that.
100%, yeah.
Don't you think that these state lawmakers are acting a little bit like children, throwing temper tantrums now?
No problem.
Seeing as your tax dollars pay the salaries of state lawmakers, don't you want them to show up to work and do what they're supposed to do?
Oh, yeah. That's what if you have an expectation and there's an agreement, yes, other people are expecting you to do your job, and there's a domino effect when you don't.
I guess, yeah, that does make sense. Yeah.
The Attorney General and the Governor, they're threatening to have these representatives removed from office if they don't show up to work. Would you support that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that there should be steps taken. I'm not sure if a removal is the right thing. I don't know. Again, I'm not in politics, but I'd like to say that hopefully there's some sort of compromise so we can make some steps in the right direction.
I mean, yeah, they should be held to similar standards, 100%.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, so that's pretty interesting. I think the difference in all that, when these students graduate and they go out and have a job, and then they don't like the way their manager's telling them to do the job, and they decide not to show up, they'll figure that out pretty quick.
Yes.
So to the point is, these Democrats have conceded they're coming back, but they have missed the final date. The law says they are to be fired. Will they be?
All right.
We'll see.
All right. Yeah, well, Oregon Republicans, they paid the price for their behavior.
They did. They couldn't run in re-election, and I'm telling you, it's anyway, let's not go there. It's a nice day. There's filet mignons on the menu. We'll be right back.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
The most challenging things that happens when you're doing interviews is you interview somebody that their answer is yes, no, yes, no. Those are very, very difficult to do, and you hope it's over real soon. Then you have those that you ask a question to, and they just go on and on and on. I mean, you could literally leave the set, go out and have a hamburger, and come back, and they're still answering the question.
Focus Today, weekdays at 8 on the Dove Radio and TV.
Welcome to Rise Direct Primary Care. Imagine a healthcare experience where you're known by name, cared for like family, and treated with compassion. How is that possible? With an affordable, flat monthly membership, you receive unlimited primary care and minor urgent care visits. No insurance needed. At Rise Direct Primary Care, we offer a friendly, affordable healthcare experience where you get a whole hour with your provider. Located in Central Medford and accessible by phone or text, we can typically get you in the same or next day. We prescribe urgent care medications directly from our office, saving you a trip and wait time at the pharmacy when you'd rather be at home getting better. Personalized medical care with a human touch. Rise Direct Primary Care is all about healing the sick with compassion and keeping the healthy healthy. Rise Direct Primary Care. We're here for you. Visit risehealthdpc.com or call or text us 541-827-8603. 541-827-8603.
They're fun-loving twins. They love God, hunting, and pranking each other. Join the Hamptons for outdoor adventure every weekend on Twin Factor. Brought to you by Black Flag Armory in Medford and Grants Pass. Truly excellent service.
Okay, good morning to you. 8 minutes before the hour, the selling of fear works, you know, and what a lot of people who are upset with the Trump administration and the various things they're doing, especially now taking over Washington, D.C. You're hearing the term martial law. He's going to impose martial law all over the place. Right. Well, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, he spoke on Fox's Laura Ingraham and addressed that.
To that, I say, look at Los Angeles. They said the exact same thing. Oh, look, 4,000 troops, California National Guard. Oh, look, the Marines. You can't put in the Marines. What? They were the troops available to ensure that we de-escalated the situation and didn't allow other lawbreakers to say, look, it's wide open. We can do whatever we want in these sanctuary cities. I was told, oh, you're going to lock up political opponents. You're going to go after Democrats, yada, yada. It's the same stuff every time, mischaracterizing our intentions. The intentions of this president is to establish law and order using legal and lawful and constitutional means, which he completely has. And you know what? You know why they don't like him? He's got the guts to do it. He's got the guts to say, I'm going to federalize the police that don't work. I'm going to bring in the National Guard. I'm going to bring in federal marshals. I'm going to bring in the park police.
How long will that be?
And we're going to control them. Who knows? How long? What is the?
Well, it costs money, right?
Sure, it does.
It costs money, and the question is, are you there for a year? Are you there for 6 months? And when the troops pull out, what happens?
I would call this conditions-based. I would say it's a situation where we're here to support law enforcement. And the more we can free them up to do their job, the more effective they can be, the more we can work. I mean, this isn't my realm, but the justice system to make sure people who are arrested are actually locked up. That's why the president's talking about cashless bail in sanctuary cities. If you're illegal here in D.C., that's going to be a problem. So all of these things that apply to law and order are front and center for us. And I don't know, weeks, months, what will it take? That's the president's call. But we're going to be there for him to execute as swiftly as possible.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. So, by the way, no political opponent's been arrested.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Yeah. And by the way, there is no martial law in L.A., is there?
No.
No. But Hegseth is right on the money. What do you think of his performance?
Well, again, I think his experience in the media and his knowledge of military gives him the ability to sit there and talk like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
pretty interesting.
All right. Well, I got a warm, feel-good story. A great story about a rugby team that went way above and beyond.
They didn't just climb a mountain, they carried a dream to the top. In Wales, the Bangor Rugby Club just turned a lifelong wish into reality for one of their biggest fans, who's the dad of one of their teammates. 66-year-old Phil Thompson has been in a wheelchair since a motorcycle accident at age 19, but always dreamed of reaching the summit of Snowdon, the highest mountain in Wales. When the team learned his story, they tied it into a fundraiser for their youth program. Just days before the climb, their plan for an electric wheelchair fell through, but a local welding shop built a custom carrying frame for free. At 5 a.m., the team set off, taking turns carrying Phil up 3,650 feet. 3 hours later, cheers, hugs, and the view he'd waited decades to see. The climb raised over $2,100, and as the club says, this is what community, determination, and looking out for each other is all about.
Okay.
I'm checking the height of Roxanne.
Right out our back door here.
Yeah, because the highest point in Wales is like 30. It's the same height as Roxanne.
Okay, we call that a mountain bike bump.
But what great heart on that team to do that. That's an awesome job.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, coming up in a little bit, we're going to be talking to John O'Connor. Always honored to have him. He's a former federal prosecutor. He gets it, and his law interpretation is spot on. So we look forward to talking to him about a lot of topics. Take with you a very great scripture today, Colossians chapter 3, verse 15. I quoted this the other day when we were talking about it. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace. And listen to this. Here's the tagline. And be thankful. Are you thankful today? And don't let anxiety rule your heart. Don't let the headlines rule your heart. Don't let the blue and the red and the pink and the purple rule your heart. Let the Spirit of Christ rule your heart today.
Great.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com. Clean water is essential to your good health. Ultra Pure Purified Water has been delivering purified, healthy drinking water to the Rogue Valley since 1995. Locally owned and family run, Ultra Pure Purified Water uses a multi-stage process ensuring your delivery of water is 99.8% pure, so your family stays hydrated and healthy. Online at ultrapurewaterinc.com or call 541-734-0828. 541-734-0828.
How can Christian parents train their kids to know and follow God's design for sexuality in a culture that increasingly rejects it?
Join us as we uncover the damaging misinformation being fed to your children on sexuality and gender identity, and learn effective strategies for grounding them in biblical truth with confidence and grace.
Join me for the John Ankerberg Show weekdays at 4 o'clock right here on the Dove TV. It'll be encouraging and informative.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Jesus says this in John 15, verses 8 and 16. You bring glory to my Father. You want to bring glory to Father? Here's how you do it. You bring glory to my Father, and you show you're my disciples. You want to prove you're really a follower of Christ? You show you're my disciples by bearing much fruit. Notice that word, much fruit. God wants a big family. He says, I chose you and I've called you to bear fruit that will last. Now, I want you to notice from that verse, Jesus says, God expects me, and he expects you, and he expects this church to bear much fruit. So that's what we're going to believe God for. Now, even more important is that God promises and God guarantees your fruitfulness in life if you follow certain instructions.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Get the day's top news from a Christian worldview. CBN Newswatch, weekdays at noon and 4:30 on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and I'm always honored when we have time to sit down with Pastor Lucas Miles. He's the host of the Lucas Miles Show. He's also APOC TV Church and State Channel, where he does a program there. He's been a pastor for over 20 years, based out of South Bend, Indiana, there where the University of Notre Dame is. He's also a faculty member there at the Summit Ministries. Can't say enough about what this organization does with young people. And the author of several books, including his latest one, Woke Jesus. And this is pretty interesting read, to say the least. You can go to lucasmiles.org is his website, and there's a picture of the landing page, lucasmiles.org. Brother Lucas, good to see you, friend. How are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good to be with you.
Thanks for your time. I'm trying to read into this term called pagan threat. What is this? What are you talking about here?
Yeah, so I think that what we have seen, over the last several years is this rise of wokeism, this rise of, focus on various critical theories. We've seen, an infiltration of Marxist ideas into a lot of areas of society. But I think that in many ways, what we have seen is that we've seen these things bloom. And they've bloomed and really shown their true colors. And their true colors are not just an ideological concept. It's not just an economic idea. It's not just a socio-political idea. It's actually a religious idea. And so wokeism, I think, has evolved. And it's evolved to show its true colors. And those are a form of paganism. And so we're seeing this neo-pagan revival. And I can unpack that more in the areas in which we're seeing that. I think a lot of areas of society where you are having people that were moving kind of out of this post-Christian world actually into more of a pagan framework for society. And I think that we have to be aware of this, and we have to understand how to present Christianity to a specifically mostly pagan audience in today's world in order to have the best success of winning people for Christ.
All right, I get it now. So, this is big. It's influenced just about every area of our life, to say the least. Do those who get wrapped up in it know that it's a pagan thing, or they just see it as a fad?
Yeah, I think yes and no. So I think that, there's about 1.5 million people in the United States alone that consider themselves practicing pagans. We talk about paganism, we usually think of the word like practice rather than an actual religion. So it's usually more about the habits and the rituals that they participate in rather than a structure like a religious structure, the way we think of Judaism or Christianity. And so those practicing pagans, I think, are well aware of what they're doing. They identify with paganism. They feel that paganism is a better moral framework for society because it provides various forms of what, in their minds, liberation, which I think is a deception, but that's where they're at. But I think that the influence of paganism has gone much further than that. In the Christian world, and I'll get pushback from certain people on this, but we have things like the Enneagram. that many Christians have embraced that actually has pagan roots to it. It was the creator of it testified that they formed this through what's known as automatic writing, basically allowing a spirit guide to move their hand in order to give them the concepts for the Enneagram. We see this in certain just doctrinal belief systems that are there, crystals, energy healing, these things that many people that go, well, I'm a Christian, but I really like crystals, or I'm a Christian, but I really like tarot cards. And they don't understand that these things aren't compatible with one another. And so there's a lot of kind of sorting through that we have to do.
Okay. I read that it's as high as 30% of Christians get involved in some form of paganism, whether it's tarot cards, crystals, astrology, and all this and that. At what point do they not recognize that they're being taken over? Because somewhere in there, as a Christian, if the Holy Spirit's living in you, there's got to be a lot of red lights going off.
I was talking to George Barna the other day, and I was teasing George about being the how's it feel to be the most quoted person in church other than Christ? And he goes, you mean the most misquoted person in church other than Christ? So I'll say that to say the exact stat I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's something like senior pastors alone, only about 50% of them have a biblical worldview. So it's like if our lead pastors don't have a biblical worldview, then what that means is a lot of our parishioners don't have a biblical worldview, right? I think it's something like 76% of the Christian world does not have a biblical worldview in America. So they're easy prey for these deceptions of horoscope, tarot, Wicca, crystals, etc. And so I think we have a lot of work to do. So in my book, I present that we need a new apologetic, and it has to start with a good foundation of primary Christian beliefs. We could look at, say, the Apostles' Creed, and just even this idea of God as creator, it shows us that we shouldn't have earth worship. It shows us what, marriage, sexuality, gender should look like, based upon his created order. And so we have, there's a lot of work for the church to do to really expose these dangerous roots that are there.
If only a small percent have a biblical worldview, then it seems like to me that we're replacing the transcendence with God with all of these fringe pagan practices.
Yeah, I think that, what we're seeing in this pagan revivalism, which I think it's fair to call it that, this neo-pagan revival, is that there is a desire for connection and a desire for power. And I don't mean power in the sense of, just the way we think of like power and greed, but just something of substance that produces a result. And so there's a focus on manifesting. There's a focus on energy. There's a focus on, kind of allowing positive thinking to impact our lives. And what that to me is exposing the fact is that Christianity in many ways has not been attractive for people because it's been viewed as mostly powerless. It's been viewed as not very relevant. And I think that, we have to look in the mirror here a little bit, and certainly we can't take all the blame, but I think as Christians, we have to think, is the gospel in the way in which it's communicated through my life or through my church or through my ministry, is it attractive to people? And we don't want to give people just what their itching ears want to hear. The Bible warns against that. But I believe that a true Christian life should be a life that is filled with love, hope, peace, power, goodness, all of these things that are seen manifest in our life. And that should be attractive when it's demonstrated properly. And I think that when people came around Jesus, they were drawn to him. Unfortunately, when many people come around Christians today, they're repelled. And so I think we need a new apologetic for Christians to really demonstrate the gospel in a way that draws people and shows that what we have that we know ourselves is so valuable is actually something that they want to.
So is this pagan threat a movement?
So when I call, when I say pagan threat, I mean, that's a term that, so it's the title of the book. I think that, there's an imminent rise in paganism that is a movement. And I think that is a threat to, our foundations as a nation, our moral framework, our spiritual framework in this country that we have to be aware of. It's growing very, very quickly. You could turn on, open up your phone, open up Instagram or TikTok Live, and you'll see people doing live tarot card readings, astrology readings. You'll see them doing live Athena worship, and this is something that young people are getting mesmerized, especially young women. Almost every single major female pop star right now has an alter ego that they say that they channel a different personality before they come on stage. They usually have a name for that personality, and many of these female pop stars are self-proclaimed witches that then promote that to their followers. And so as young men are becoming more conservative right now in the nation, we're seeing young women have a huge infatuation with witchcraft, crystals, paganism, Wicca, etc. And so this is a threat, I think, for our nation.
So if it's a movement, then it would suggest it has an agenda.
Yeah, great question. So in my book, Pagan Threat, I present two really frameworks for paganism. There are those that are just enamored with the what I would call more grassroots paganism. You know, they're earthy. They want to connect to nature. They're the kind of people that take a family vacation. They go to Stonehenge rather than the Grand Canyon because they want to connect to the spiritual aspect of the earth. Though, while wrong and while misguided, I think the greater danger is more the globalist agenda of paganism. I think that we've seen a lot of connections, and I've got some receipts in my book for this when it comes to the UN, when it comes to some of the feminist movements that have taken place, when it comes to some of the radical environmentalist movements that have taken place with earth worship and what is known as Gaia worship, basically kind of the name of Mother Earth. And this is where it becomes more very much agenda focused. And I think this is where the deeper threat lies when we talk about the status of our nation, our churches.
Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to figure out in my mind here, and you're the pro here, if this is growing within Christianity, then somewhere we got disconnected from where the book of Acts says that when you receive the Holy Spirit, you'll receive power.
Yeah.
And so maybe we are not properly educating people on what it is to be filled with the Holy Spirit and its power, if in fact that they're going to be entertained by these other mediums and it somehow gets roots in them.
Yeah, I think a lot of this comes through appearance. Again, it's sort of this Trojan horse concept where it appears to be Christian in nature. There's certain, people will reason, well, crystals are rocks. God made rocks. Therefore, God made crystals. Therefore, God wants me to connect with the energy that's in crystals, to be able to heal my body. And yeah, well, it's true that God made rocks, and there's nothing wrong with having a pretty rock that you like to look at. And there's not to say that there might be certain substances. For instance, we need potassium, we need salt in our bodies, for basic metabolic function. But when we start ascribing healing powers or energies to created things rather than the creator, we're getting off track. And so there's a lot of, I think, theological gymnastics that is taking place in people's minds that are trying to rationalize. They're always looking for the new thing, the thing to present. And there's been this hybridization with paganism and certain Christian practices or beliefs. And if you think of paganism, it is, it's a carrier. The way I describe it is, it's like a carrier oil. If you have certain, stronger substances, you need to put it in maybe a carrier in order to get that across so it's not so strong. You see this in essential oils or something. And I think that Marxism has attempted in the past to attach itself to Christianity. And I think ultimately it's self-refuting. Eventually, if you try to stay, a progressive Christian, you're either going to become, more into the progressive side, because if you look into scripture, it will refute the things you're believing, or you're eventually going to discount the truth of the scripture and you're just going to move into, progressivism. And I think that what paganism is it's a better vehicle for the Marxist agenda. Because it does not have the moral roadblocks to it that Christianity would have for Marxism to be able to prosper. And so I think we've seen the parasite of Marxism jump from Christianity to this pagan revival in order to push this agenda of wokeism and globalism forward.
Oh, that's well explained, because, I hear this argument when it comes to marijuana. I mean, I deal with a lot of, drug and rehab people, stuff like that. Yeah. And the shocking thing is how many people have bought this argument in order to go ahead and take marijuana because it's a plant and God created it, and it does good things for you.
Yep. yeah, it's very, and I think we see that with crystals. I think we see that with astrology. I think we see that with these different concepts. And sometimes people just very compartmentalize with their faith. We saw that with the election of how many people, at when polled said that their faith did not play a part in who they voted for. Our faith should be a total involvement process. It should affect every single capacity and area of our life. And so when you think about, your health, some people go, well, my faith is something I do on Sunday or I live at times throughout the week, but my body, my health, that's something that I have to, think about these other means. And so, I think the health industry has opened up a lot of attraction for things like crystals and energies, et cetera. But it's really disproportionately affecting young women. I think that these are things parents need to be aware of. There's a technological component to this as well. Techno-paganism is a real thing. And I think that's something that we need to understand. If your kids are using phones or apps and those things, this is a gateway at times for paganism. And I don't want to just sound the alarm that there's a demon behind every door, but there are real introductions of paganism happening through kids shows and movies. And I think that parents need to be aware of this. So I try to give like I do in a lot of my writing, kind of a roadmap, a history of this, and then how do we address it and think about it as Christians.
All right, let me take a quick break. lucasmiles.org is a good place to go, and that's where you can check out the resources here. And as you can tell, he's very passionate. lucasmiles.org. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
Perry Atkinson.
I learned this from the late Rush Limbaugh. I interviewed Rush Limbaugh a couple of weeks before we moved to Southern Oregon in 1983. And I asked Rush Limbaugh the question, I said, what is the key to your program? And he said two things. He said, one is be comfortable in making fun of yourself and having a good time. And the other one is, when you have a guest on, remember they're the star, you're not. It always stuck with me.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why McKelly's is automotive service with a heart for God, and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond. But that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
All right, welcome back. Always honored to have with us Pastor Lucas Miles with us today. He's the host of his own show, and you can see the Church and State program on the Epoch's TV channel. And his latest book is called Pagan Threat, and you may want to check this out. There's a picture of the cover of the book on the screen. I think you'll find this to be a fascinating read, and I also think it's a big yellow light, big caution light. You may want to get a copy of this. He does have a website, lucasmiles.org. And Lucas, Pagan Threat, available online?
It's available for pre-order right now, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the platforms.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, a couple of things here. As you mentioned, and even when I've had Dr. Barner on, he talks about there seems to be a silent revival going on among young men. They really are seeking something here, authenticity when it comes to relationship with God, truth, all those things. And yet the women thing is kind of interesting. They have a tendency to move into these areas that we're talking about. Do you have any idea why the difference between men and women on the attraction of pagan practices?
You look at some of the role models that we have in society right now, and I think that there are there are a lot of really strong male role models that are available for people today. Now, you might disagree with some of them ideologically or even spiritually, so this isn't an endorsement just by naming names. But, the Joe Rogans of the world, the Jordan Petersons of the world, Ben Shapiro, of course, Charlie Kirk, even Donald Trump or J.D. Vance. There's a lot of names that are out there that have become strong conservative figures that are championing higher thinking, that are championing sort of a Western way of life, and many times Christian, values and identities, if not, completely outright. When it comes to women, there's hundreds and thousands of great women role models out there. But when you think of the household names, I think it's more difficult to think of names that really come to mind. Now, there's certainly some that we could mention, but when you think of the most famous women in the country today, many of them are actresses, many of them are pop stars that have a tendency to promote and be drawn into more of these pagan lifestyles. And I think that, especially when it comes to younger women, the Beyoncés and the Taylor Swifts and the Nicki Minaj's of the world, have been louder voices than some of the really solid examples that we could think of that are out there that they should be listening to. And I think that that's created a bit of a void. So as men are getting more conservative, young women are becoming less conservative in many cases. And I think that it's created a real crisis.
People who are drawn to this, Christians that are drawn to this, are they aware of it?
I think that in most cases, no. I think that they're, and look, in the book, I go through extensively about every practice that you can think of. Is it wrong for a Christian to participate in yoga? That's been a conversation for a long time. And I think that there has to be some conversation that still happens around that. If it's a religiously motivated, there's nothing wrong with stretching. There's nothing wrong with, moving your body in certain ways. But if you're doing that as a purpose because you believe there's an energy or a spirituality connected to that particular movement, then I think that at that point becomes something that Christians should stay far from. And so I think sometimes that Christians just get sucked into things because there's different fads that are happening. They don't realize the religious or spiritual connotation that they're actually participating in at that moment. And I think that a lot of these things, we should treat it as meat sacrificed to idols. Paul gives explicit instructions to this in Corinthians, where we see, that if I'm not aware, then you partake. But the moment you become aware that there's a paganism associated with this, like with the Enneagram, if somebody's watching this and they're fully bought in on the Enneagram, now if you know and you do the homework and you figure out this is through automatic writings, through occultic practices, that this originally came about, there's no reason why a Christian should participate in this. And I'll go even further, say there's no reason why a Christian publisher should be publishing books about this. And the problem is that many of our Christian publishers have been bought out by mainstream secular institutions and organizations, and the same level of safeguarding is not there on the content. And so things have been marketed to Christians because they'll sell, rather than that they're doctrinally sound, and that's become an additional issue.
Well, there's a lot to talk about here. Of all the things that have shifted in the culture, especially in this day in which we live, where so much anxiety and division, what do you consider to be one of the most spiritually dangerous trends?
Yeah, there's all of these. When you get into the depths of paganism, it's really a desire to fulfill the promises of God or the fulfillments of God without God being involved in the picture. It's putting man or some other entity in that place of divinity rather than God. And so there's a concept that I write about in the book, and this is a concept that you can Google and search online or ask ChatGPT in today's world, is that it's called the hive brain. And so on a simplistic level, for sake of this conversation, there is a goal to see people connected, that basically that all of us, through our collective involvement, again, it has a lot of Marxist undertone language to it, are going to be able to solve the issues of the world and kind of create this movement towards a utopia through the interconnection of our brains. And of course, that's being looked at through technology now, through literal hardwiring. We have these different things that, okay, if we just implant this thing in our head here, then that's going to connect us, that's going to get us to this next level. And all of this at a base level, it's just a false expression of the connection that we have in Christ. We are the body of Christ. But we're not trying to be the brain. We have a head, and his name is Jesus Christ. And so these are all like they're all counterfeit examples of I think things that the enemy are parading in front of us to find fulfillment in our lives without actually finding true fulfillment through Christ. And I think that we have to be on guard against this in areas of health, in areas of our future, in areas of raising our children, and promises for utopia. And there's only one utopia. It's called heaven, the new heaven and the new earth, and we should be looking towards that.
There's another element to this that kind of fits in something I read quite a while ago, and that is how fast our culture has speeded up. Technology has really speeded us up to where the attention span has really shrunk. I call it the 38-foot miracle. You order your hamburger, you drive 38 feet, and you pick it up.
Yeah.
And we kind of expect God to do that. When we pray, we kind of want an answer, like within 38 feet of, and when we don't get it, we look for other means to bring it. And therefore we lose, or we're forfeiting the lesson that maybe God has for us in waiting.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting observation. That I think there's a lot of truth there. That we have, of course, kind of this consumer mindset, consumer mentality. Churches have moved a lot in that direction, and I think that we could argue that's why biblical illiteracy is at an all-time high. Is that we've lost that kind of discipleship framework within our Christian institutions. The seeker-sensitive model has produced a lot of converts, but few disciples. And so, I think that we have to come back to really solidifying ourselves in primary truth. And there has to be, this is a lot of times identified with Catholicism, but we need a catechism of sorts within Christianity, a foundational discipleship framework that when somebody gets saved, when they come to Christ, that we love them enough that we're willing to give them the building blocks in order to really shape a strong Christian life that includes understanding, prayer and understanding God's word and understanding these different Christian virtues that we could point to, and really the basic frameworks of our faith, that God is our creator, that Jesus is Lord, the Trinity, heaven and hell, depravity of man, the return of Christ. These should be things that are within our belief system, and we've seen that lost. And I think as a result, people have fallen for substitutes and really false examples of that.
So, Lucas, how do we get pastors or even Christians, the average parishioner, how do we get them to maybe do an assessment on their life about this concern? And maybe they have absorbed some pagan things, they're not even aware of it, without coming off as being legalist.
Yeah, so great question. And I would say, first off, all of us have absorbed certain pagan things and we haven't known it, right? We could go through and we could look at even practices that we do that, could have been adopted from paganism years ago. And it's easy to go on the opposite extreme of this. And you go on a witch hunt and people start, Christmas is pagan and Easter is pagan. Now, I would disagree with both of those. I don't think either one of those actually have pagan roots, but we hear people say those sort of things. And so it becomes hard to know where I should be spending my time or my focus. If something is just simply a form, I don't think there's much concern there. If something is actually a belief system that I've identified. So if a pagan used the table before and I'm sitting at a table, I'm not worried about anything for my faith in that sense. This is just, coincidental in that regard. But if pagans believe that a table has a personality and energy to it, and I've adopted that belief that tables have personalities and energy to it, now all of a sudden we have a problem for my Christian faith. And so I think that we have to really take inventory of certain belief systems that we've held to. And I try to, in this book, lay out as many of them that I possibly can and give kind of a roadmap for people that they can take assessment in their life by reading Pagan Threat and go through this. So I'm very honored to have Charlie Kirk does the foreword on the book. Which was just very blessed to have him participate in that and see the value, in this concept. And so I can't wait to get this in people's hands. And I'm hoping it's going to strengthen the church as we really evaluate the rise of these false gods and false practices.
It's called Pagan Threat. You can pre-order it online and check out Lucas's website, lucasmiles.org. One other quick question, Lucas. So the 30,000-foot view, two questions. Number one is, how big of a threat do you think this is to Christianity? And number two, what do you want people to take away from the book?
So I don't think that Christianity is going to get eclipsed and paganism is going to become the dominant force in the sense that, the church loses its relevancy completely. But I do think that paganism and our tolerance for it as Christians in our own lives has the potential to create a very apathetic and weak Christianity and powerless Christianity, and that is dangerous. We've seen a Europe that was once thriving with the gospel that is now empty of the gospel. We have that same risk here in America if we don't really come back to our Christian faith. And I think the takeaway is we need a new apologetic. We need a new defense for Christianity that stands up to the challenges of the time and demonstrates that the gospel is still relevant for today. And I really tried to provide that in this book.
What are you talking about when you define quickly for me new apologetic? What are you meaning by that?
So the term apology is a term, we think of today like saying you're sorry. That's not what I'm talking about. The term apology, when we think of from a Greek philosopher standpoint or an early, Christian standpoint, it's a defense. It's really a legal term. It is offering a defense for the faith. And, we saw times in early Rome where people like Justin Martyr and Jerome, that they developed very strong apologies against the accusations of Rome and against the spiritual zeitgeist of Rome in order to present why the gospel was the best choice possible. And so I think that we need a new updated version of that today. Certainly we can learn from the older attempts at doing this, but I think we need something that addresses the accusations against Christianity. Christians are being vilified for the first time since the days of Rome. And I think that we have to stand strong, with a good, robust defense of the gospel.
Well, I'll underscore that by saying we do a lot of programs on the Dove radio and television networks, and I have to say this, the number one topic still Christian apologetics. That has the greatest interest. Good to see you, friend. Thanks for your work. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, pre-order the book. It's called Pagan Threat. There's a picture of the cover of the book on the screen by Lucas Miles. Go to his website, lucasmiles.org. Get involved there and support what he does. Good to see you, brother. Stay in the fight.
Thanks, Barry.
Okay.
Jetboat excursions, you feel the power of the mighty Rogue River as you take in the sights and sounds of nature, journey through Hellgate Canyon, and adventure through the breathtaking wilderness. Enjoy brunch or dinner on the open-air deck of the exclusive Hellgate River Lodge and end your adventure with our exciting jetboat spins. It's a memory in the making with family and friends. Book your adventure at Hellgate.com. Hellgate Jetboat Excursions, where adventure runs wild.
Big ideas grow.
Chris Silva understands your home and your commercial buildings are two of the largest investments most people make in a lifetime. One is for your family, the other is to support your family financially. That is why Chris Silva Painting goes the extra mile to protect both homes and commercial buildings with proper painting preparation and high-quality primers and paints. Serving Southern Oregon since 2006, this family-owned and operated business has painted over 1,000 homes. Chris Silva Painting offers an industry-leading 5-year warranty that covers materials and labor on all painting projects work for both residential and commercial buildings, both interior and exterior painting. Chris and his crew are courteous, they are efficient, organized, timely, and clean. Chris Silva Painting also offers military discounts. At Chris Silva Painting, our mission statement is to bring Christ's heart and principles to our customers and our job sites. We do that with honesty, integrity, and hard work. We don't cut corners, we paint them. CCB number 176097. Chris Silva Painting, 541-890-3960.
Welcome back, and always looking forward to sitting down, talking to our good friend John O'Connor. John is a former federal prosecutor, experienced trial lawyer, author of a couple of books, Postgate, How the Washington Post Betrayed Deep Throat and Covered Up Watergate, which began today's partisan advocacy journalism. John has also served as an assistant U.S. attorney in Northern California, representing the United States in both criminal and civil cases. John does have a website, and that is postgatebook.com. And not only can you get the book there, but you can get the sequel, and that is The Mysteries of Watergate. And believe it or not, going back to Watergate gives you a pretty good picture of a lot of things that are going on today. So check it out, postgatebook.com. Brother John, good to see you, friend. How are you, bud?
Very good. Good to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot going on. Well, the big summit coming up, they're calling it a listening session in Alaska.
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, this thing will get resolved mainly because Putin needs to resolve it. There's no doubt about that. I think Putin will get a good deal here. I think he knows Trump wants a deal. Putin wants a deal, but I think he's been too shrewd to let people know that he desperately needs one. His economy's in the tank. He doesn't have any more human fodder to throw into this war. And he's not going to get much more than he's got now. Now, the question is, will Ukraine accept giving away the eastern part of the country? The other issue is all of the rare earth minerals that Trump wants so much, and we all should want for our defense technology. Forget about the EVs and so forth, but just for defense, we need those. And those minerals are mainly in the eastern part of Ukraine. So I don't know if they're going to be able to carve up something there and get rare earths. But I'll tell you, whatever deal Putin signs, you can't rely on him. At least it might get troops out of there, but you can't rely on him to keep his word. I mean, he pledged in the Budapest Memorandum back when Clinton was office to respect the territorial integrity of Ukraine in exchange for Ukraine giving up its weapons. So how did that work out for everybody? So but look, this thing will, at least the fighting will stop. I'm not sure it'll be a great deal, but look, if Biden would have come in there at the beginning, rattled some sabers, we could have given Putin a little bit of a land bridge in the eastern part so he can get to Crimea and make it a narrow land bridge where the Russian speakers are, and that probably would have been okay, because there are a lot of Russian speakers there, native Russians. Crimea was traditionally a Russian place. People forget that Nikita Khrushchev took from Russia and gave to Ukraine because Khrushchev was a Ukrainian. So a little bit of a land bridge wouldn't have been that bad an idea. Now that he's got quite a big one and a lot of valuable land there. So, but that's the way it is. We didn't do anything. Biden sat there and just cowered and just worried about escalation when he should have worried about stopping Putin. I mean, Putin's not going to get in a war with us, but these guys were not good card players.
Okay, so am I hearing you say you expect land to be part of the deal?
Oh yeah. I think that at least the existing land held by Russia, I will bet you $1 to a donut that Russia gets most of the land it is now occupying.
Okay, because
it has to be. I mean, it's a fait accompli. It's the facts on the ground, and you rarely change those facts on the ground in these settlements.
Because some are saying, all right, maybe that could be the case, or given the minerals that Trump wants out of Ukraine, that could be an interesting stumbling block as far as land exchange is concerned. But the other one is maybe Trump, being the deal maker is and the businessman that he is, maybe he's going to say to Putin, hey, wouldn't you like to have McDonald's back?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot we can do for him, Perry. Yeah. You're right. We can give McDonald's back. We can let him sell all the oil he wants at market prices. I don't know that we're doing a good job of sanctioning him now, but certainly we can do a lot for his flagging economy. We can help him get business back, and I think that the best solution for the rare earths is to have some sort of consortium between the United States and Russia, figure out how to run it on the rare earths, and we can both profit from it. But I think something like that's got to happen. Number one, Russia's got to have its territory. I mean, Putin spent an awful lot of blood and treasure here for this. He's got to keep it. He's determined to keep it, and there's nothing to no way we can force him to give it up. So generally speaking, he's going to keep all or most of the land. There may be some little provinces to carve out and so forth. I would say people who speak mainly Ukrainian should be the focus of whether land is given back for those Russian-speaking parts of eastern Ukraine. And the fairness of this is, Perry, is when the Soviet Union broke up, there was supposed to be plebiscites in the eastern part of Ukraine to determine whether these folks did want to go with Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine never offered those plebiscites. So I hate to be on Putin's side. It doesn't make me an attractive person. But he has something to say there as to the Russian speakers. And that was Obama's justification for not sending troops in. But anyway, be that as it may, I think the battle is going to be over these places that have Ukrainian speakers, not a lot of Russian influence. And then you've got the rare earth minerals.
Yeah.
But look, Putin's got to do a deal. It's wonderful for him. This is victorious victory for Putin.
Okay, and it says a lot that he's coming to America. We're not going to Moscow. I mean, that does send a signal, doesn't it?
Sure it does. I really think that Putin's a sharp guy. Putin and he are both good card players. I think the problem is Putin does not have a democracy to cater to. Trump does. And he's got a base of people that don't like foreign entanglements, no matter how sensible they may be at some point. So Putin can do anything he wants. He can bluff very well that he'll fight this thing forever. He doesn't want to. Mm-hmm. His economy is just going wild now in a bad way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's a good sign he's going to Alaska. And I think he wants a deal. And he wouldn't be doing this unless he was ready to do a deal.
Yeah.
He's going to see how much he can get. This is a first round. And I can't tell you how many mediations I've been in, Perry, where people have learned that let's go to the first session and make our high demands and walk if we don't get them, only to come back when the other side doesn't blink and actually do a deal. So I'm not sure it's going to be done in a millisecond here. I think it may take a couple sessions.
I mean, because it does have the possibility of a Reagan-Gorbachev blow-up if it doesn't go well.
That's right. It easily could, and I think it might be a good idea to have a little bit of a blow-up, which would be just a negotiating thing. That's all this is. This is a negotiation. And I hope Trump stands strong on this and is ready to walk if he doesn't get a decent deal. And if he does blow up and says, okay, sanctions, we're going to do sanctions and we can't do anything. I'm really disappointed with the first meeting. I'm putting down sanctions for 30 days. We can't get this done in 30 days. These sanctions, A, B, C, and D, are coming into play. And that's what I would do if I were Trump. And he has to get upset and walk away, because I think Putin is going to be fairly much intransigent here. So
it's really interesting, because the other thing is, I would assume that Ukraine does not become a member of NATO, but what about joining the EU?
That's how this whole thing started. Paul Manafort has had his client, Yanukovych, who was not a Boy Scout, but he had him all poised to join the EU. They were signing an EU cooperation agreement, and Obama wouldn't give him any money to make up for the loss in Russian oil discounts, so to speak. And that whole thing blew up, and that's what caused the Maidan Revolution, and then Yanukovych gets chased. So there's always been that tendency to go to the EU. Putin will not like it, but I think an assurance that they'll never join NATO is probably what he wants from us.
One other quick question, John, before I take a break. Given the dynamics, all the things you've laid out on the table, there's also another element here, and that is the Orthodox Church involved in this as it relates to its origin in Crimea. We don't hear about that, but that's part of the motivation, isn't it?
Well, in what sense, Perry? In the sense that that the Orthodox Church would like a deal, or?
Well, they would like their origin of the church back, that piece of real estate, so to speak. And I hear that often popped up, but I don't know if. I mean, I have a hard time thinking that the Orthodox Church would justify killing innocent people just to get a piece of real estate.
Well, what real estate are you talking about? Crimea or Eastern Ukraine?
The Eastern Ukraine part. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, oh, yes. No, there's a lot there. I mean, this is very much of a sacred thing for Russia.
Yeah,
it always has been. And there's such a gulf between the Ukrainian people who hate the idea of Russian rule. That's why they're fighting so hard. They just hate the Russians. On the other hand, there are an awful lot of Russian speakers along there.
Mm-hmm.
And the Russian, I think that this pull, the Russian Orthodox Church, that's quite a pull. No, I know what you're saying. Yes, I agree with you that that's a big motive. And look, churches have often been involved in holy wars. Yeah. I happen to be a Roman Catholic, and I got to say, if you look at the history of the popes and their belief in war, I mean, how many bodies have been extinguished because of what popes have wanted? Right. So I think this means a lot to the Russian Church. Yeah. Yes, it's a really good point, Perry. Really good point. Nobody talks about it, by the way.
No, they don't. And yet, to me, if you look at the motive behind that, leave all of the other things out. If you just look at the spiritual motive behind that, it's a driving factor for Putin. And that's probably how he appeases his people more than anything else. So we'll see where this goes, but I can't help but think that's on the table.
There's a Russian empire and there's the Russian church, and they're somewhat coalesced in the minds of the Russian people, and so it's a powerful force.
Yeah. All right, let me take a quick break. Always a delight to have with us John O'Connor. Check out his website, Postgate Book, and that's also where you can check out the two books, Postgate, the book itself, and then the follow-up, The Mysteries of Watergate, all very relevant today, believe it or not. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Clean water is essential to your good health. Ultra Pure Purified Water has been delivering purified, healthy drinking water to the Rogue Valley since 1995. Locally owned and family run, Ultra Pure Purified Water uses a multi-stage process ensuring your delivery of water is 99.8% pure, so your family stays hydrated and healthy. Online at ultrapurewaterinc.com or call 541-734-0828. 541-734-0828.
My wife is just out there snorkeling by herself. Never thought that she was in any kind of danger.
I felt like I had bumped into something. I was face to face with the shark. He had my whole arm in his mouth. I felt the strength of the Lord just come out from inside of me and give me the strength to fight. And I remember thinking, no, I'm not gonna die here. You are not gonna take my life.
Watch the 700 Club Wednesday morning at 11 on the Dove TV.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
When I was a teenager, I remember I was taken to Johns Hopkins Hospital for surgery. I was frightened at the idea of being paralyzed for the rest of my life. I was only a kid. Well, they pushed my gurney into the old hospital lobby and parked me at the foot of this big statue. I looked up breathless. It was a massive marble figure of Christ with outstretched arms. At its base were the words of Jesus from Matthew 11. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. That day I was placed directly at the feet of Jesus, and I will never forget the warm embrace of his outstretched arms. I would replay that moment so many times, it became part of my healing. Friend, today, picture yourself at the feet of Christ, because he can lift your burden.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Welcome back. Honored to have with us again John O'Connor. Always honored to have him with us. Check out his website, postgatebook.com, where you can check out the books as well, postgatebook.com. theDove.com. John, a couple quick questions. As you know, in the last 24 hours, it's been pretty interesting what's happening in our nation's capital by federalizing the police and sending in the National Guard. And in one day, 39 arrests, some of them pretty violent people. We've watched the attitude of the mayor and the chief of police go from get out of town to, oh, yeah, we better cooperate. I don't know what your thinking is, but I'm trying to figure out, they don't have a governor. It's not a state. So obviously the president has the power to do this, right?
It's a little bit more tricky than that because Congress is legislated. And Congress is supposed to be the governing authority, which is a real odd situation. A legislature should not be governing anything. The legislature can't run a lemonade stand, and now we have them make rules for D.C. It doesn't make sense. It really probably should be under the executive branch. I don't know why it wouldn't be. But at least Trump has this emergency ability to come in and take over the police for 30 days at least. Not that the 30 days is not a time limit. It's just an emergency power. So I think he'll stay in there. Now the question is, can you get permanent rules there? And what I don't know is who sets the rules. For instance, they have cashless bail. That's one of those things that is, a self-canceling phrase, an oxymoron, like, as they say, Army intelligence. But it's not a good thing to have cashless bail because a guy gets picked up. He knows he's out on the street. He doesn't have to post anything. His relatives don't have to post their house. Bail is a big deal. Mm-hmm. Bail is a real big deal. And so that's just one thing. And then, of course, arrests are not being really aggressively pursued, and investigations are lax. So a big kick in the keister is a good thing for D.C. I just don't know how much permanently is going to come out of this. One of the things I think they've figured out is that D.C. is underfunded in its police department, or at least is underfunded. So hopefully this will happen, but we need a little bit more Rudy Giuliani style stop and frisk type of thing. I know they're picking up handguns right and left right now, just in these last couple days. So they've got to go after, because people are in danger.
So what I'm hearing you say, if there was going to be management or policy change, or even statute change in running the city, that would have to come from Congress?
Yes, I believe so. Some kind of enabling legislation, I believe, that has to come from Congress. Now, what I don't know is, and since this thing just started, I haven't gotten into the ability of the city, how much they've been delegated to make these changes.
Okay.
Now, if they've been delegated these powers and don't have to go back to Congress to change a rule like cashless bail, maybe in the next 30 or 60 days, Trump's people can change those rules. Now, if you can do that, if he's got the power by taking over the police, he also takes over the power to, and maybe takes over other parts of D.C., for instance, the rulemaking ability, whatever you call it. It's very confusing as to how those rules are made. And we saw that on January 6th when Muriel Bowser took away all the weapons and tac gear from her National Guard and made them useless. And now and nobody was controlling her. We have a national danger there, and we have Muriel Bowser running it. So I don't know. I got to say, Perry,
No, it's okay.
Just don't know who makes the rules. Who makes the rule?
This is, by the way, the last poll as of last night, 68% of the citizens are happy with what's going on.
That's very interesting, and it's interesting you hear liberal commentators on CNN and MSNBC thankful that they won't have to Uber 3 blocks from a restaurant to work. And vice versa.
Yeah. All right, the other quick question I wanted to ask you, John, and that is Attorney General Pam Bondi has appointed a special prosecutor to investigate Senator Adam Schiff, your beloved senator from California there. I don't know if this is part of the mortgage fraud deal, or does it have a connection with Russiagate and perjury?
It now has connections with Russiagate. If the prosecutor is empowered to do all things Adam Schiff, I think we're going to see more than this mortgage fraud. The mortgage fraud's going to be a tough sell because he could have a primary residence in Maryland one day and a primary residence in California the other, and both statements would be true when he applies for a loan. I think that's a tough prosecution. But this latest thing about leaking classified information, if you've got a good witness there, now the only question is, in my mind, is statute of limitations. So where I see this thing going is Schiff clearly was leaking Russiagate information. I think if I were a prosecutor, I would draw up a conspiracy, and prosecutors have unlimited creativity in how you frame a conspiracy. Conspiracy is the way you frame it. There's no rules as to how you do it. And if I were a prosecutor, I would frame a conspiracy such that Schiff was in with the other guys, Comey and so forth, on using our intelligence apparatus and other governmental apparatus to lie about Trump in many different particulars, and that conspiracy lasted until at least Brennan testified in 2023. If you can hook in what Schiff did back in 2017 to this conspiracy that goes to 2023, I think they've got Schiff on a crime, is what I'm telling you, Perry. But unless you get rid of the statute of limitations problem, you're going to have trouble. So if I were the special prosecutor, now you've got a problem. If you're the special prosecutor and your only remit is Schiff himself, and there's another special prosecutor that's going to deal with Comey, Brennan, and so forth, or just the Justice Department, somehow those two deals have to meet. And I think that could be done. But that's what I would do if I were the special prosecutor on Schiff. I would make common cause with the rest of the Justice Department dealing with Comey, Brennan, and Clinton on the false Russiagate stuff. Because that's what he's doing. He's telling false Russiagate tales using false information that's been cooked up originally by Hillary, later put on steroids by Comey. And he's doing that, all of them, to try to undermine a sitting president. So I think there's both conspiracy laws cover it. Not to get technical, but there are two conspiracy laws, and I think this meets both of them.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say, by tying this the past to the current, you are extending the statutes so this thing can go forward and get them. All along during this whole thing, he kept saying they had hard evidence of the collusion of Trump and Russia. He never produced it. He's pretty well known for perjuring himself before Congress. Does any of that hold, or does that get swept away from this other special prosecutor trying to come up a timeline so that the statutes would apply?
Those public statements he makes are not crimes in and of themselves, but they show an intent, a criminal intent, that hopefully would then apply when you get something that is prosecutable. That is in other words, he's misusing classified information, which is a crime, which is what Hillary was let go by Comey for. But you cannot misuse classified information. He misused it if you can show him leaking.
Is that treasonous? Is that treasonous?
That's a far cry. Treason is pretty rough. Okay. You've got to do this in a way that really tries specifically to do harm to the United States.
Okay.
And it's close. It's close. It's just probably a little bit overblown. Okay. I mean, he's really, he's harming. In other words, is harming Trump harming the United States? I would say it is. As opposed to, but it's really, the motive is really political here. I think it's enough to get a good old 5-year imprisonment crime, and he's never going to do 5 years, and just make it part of this conspiracy of falsity. The problem is, if you do something like treason, You may not have a conspiracy of everybody committing treason.
Yeah.
You want him doing something that fits in with what Comey, Brennan, and Clinton are doing.
Right.
And so this fits in. This is what I've been thinking about for the last day.
Okay.
Is how I would charge this as a prosecutor, and I think there's a way to do it. Is what I'm saying.
All right. I want you to think on that a little bit more, and we'll get you back with all your details. All right. Check out postgatebook.com. That's John's website. Check out the books. I think you'll find them to be fascinating, quite frankly, quite relevant. Thank you, John. You always give us time. We value it greatly. Look forward to more conversations, buddy.
Thanks, Perry. Take care.
Okay.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegateRV.com.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance.